Hello, Drift fans, and welcome to the House of Drift, otherwise known as Irwindale Speedway, playing host to AutoZone Title Fight. Ding, ding. The fight is on, presented by Rain-X, because the championship is still up for grabs. This being the title fight because it's round 8 of 8. I'm Jared Dienda. Joining me once again is Ryan Sage, co-host. Ryan, again, just a crazy year. And, you know, there's the skeptics out there that say Formula Drift is rigged. And just, you know, judging by the year, you kind of believe him just on how things unfold, you know, just... It was kind of a storybook year. It started out strong for Odie Bakshis, then James Dean. The hunt is on. Can he three-peat? But, man, good to see you again, man.
Well, you know, it's great to be here, and we're very close to Halloween this time of the year, so yeah. I think it's fitting to say that we've had one HE double hockey sticks of a season, to say the least. And you mentioned it right off the bat. Odie Bakshis kind of dominated the first half of the season. We saw Frederick Osbo consistent throughout the year, Ryan Turk having some shining moments, and various winners across the board. And most recently, some phenomenal driving coming out of Texas that has actually really made the championship for the number 1 and number 2 guys much more interesting, and that's Chelsea Denofa. Much less we saw 2 100-point runs this season. 2
perfect runs from Justin Pollock earlier, and just most recently in Texas, James Dean. I mean, this looks like a video game run. Look at him fill that outer zone just barely. I mean, oh my goodness, just glancing past that final front clip, or excuse me, right here. But James Dean, the target is on his back, literally and figuratively, because he's going for his 3rd championship, and that's in a row. The only other 3-time champion, Forsberg. Mathematically, he's still in it, but basically he'd need the points leaders to drop out and basically like a DNS.
Yeah, and we'll be talking about the championship scenarios as we go through, and qualifying is certainly going to be important, especially if those guys make it deep into the latter rounds. Those small points that you get from qualifying could make a difference.
All right, so let's take a look at our current standings right now. We talk about our points leaders, and I know going into Texas, things got shaken up. You can see James Dean leads the pack, 498 points. Frederick Osbo just 19 points behind the other Wordhouse driver, Piotr Visick, Odie Bakshis, and as I said, Forsberg. Mathematically, he'd need those first 4 drivers to drop out. And there's a few drivers missing this weekend. Dylan Hughes, his car is not here, so he's not running, as well as Matt Coffin. Hope he gets better. Alec Honadale, again, shout out to you, buddy. But again, we have the making of a great event. But first up, I'm going to throw it over to Chris, the Forrest Forsberg. He's got a Black Magic clip tip.
What's up, everybody? I'm Chris Forsberg, and we're here at the final round of Formula Drift, round 8 at Irwindale, House of Drift, for this Black Magic clip tip. And I'm looking at outside zone 2, the big lower bank, the fast part, the tandem locked in door to door, the best part of the weekend. We've had cars hit there, flip there, going door to door, and you know, the whole make or break of a tandem run is decided in that corner. So having good speed from outer zone 1, the big bank, through inner clip 1, and carrying that momentum into the corner is what gets you on that wall on the throttle. If you just float in and get on the power late, you're going to come down to the inside. If you get on the gas early, it's going to hold that wide radius and fill that whole zone and stay out front and smoke out the chase driver. That's how you do it.
All right, and we're back here with judge and commentator Ryan Lantane. Ryan, we've got a really exciting event in store, but first we have to get through qualifying, find out how those positions are going to be seated. So let's talk about the event format today.
Today is qualifying, like you said. Each driver is going to do 2 non-consecutive runs. They're going to get a score for each one of those runs, and they're going to keep the higher of the 2, and we're going to keep that lower qualifying score to potentially break a tie later on, and that will put them in their positions for tomorrow's head-to-head competition.
Let's take a look at the track map. It's essentially the same as well as the decel zones. We'll show you guys where those have been placed, but just walk us through generally what the track map is all about.
You can see on this map the 6 scored areas, even though there are only 5 zones on the course that are really scored. We've broken up outside zone 1 into 2 different sectors because it is such a big zone. That way line and angle scores can be scored accurately. Inside clip 1, the cars rotate to outside zone 2. Get to inside clip number 2, and the important part at the finish line there is that there's an outside zone 3 right on the wall at the finish line to make sure the drivers go extra wide at the finish line. Now looking at the decel map itself, the major decel area we're looking at is that the big one at the bottom of the screen between inside clip 1 and outside zone 2. The drivers need to use their angle and only slow down in that area, not before inside clip 1, and that's going to be a big deduction on points if they do that.
Let's take a look at that actually in practice, going back to the number 1 qualifying run of James Dean last year, a 99 here. Ryan, walk us through it.
Yeah, so you can see as we build up, that's the 3 cone. These are cones that are there for reference, the 2 cone, just to let the drivers know how they're approaching the initiation point, which is right here at the 1 cone. They need to be sideways by the 1 cone. Right here is the beginning of outside zone 1. You can see that marker on the wall. The drivers need to fill this whole outside zone with the back of their vehicle all the way until they get to the end of the zone, which is coming up very shortly right there. That's the end of outside zone number 1, which is where the drivers can exit the wall. They can get away from the wall and head down to inside clip number 1. So you can see the front bumper there of James Dean, nice and tight on an inside clip. This is where he slows down. It's really important that you slow down in that area, but throw the car aggressively at the beginning of outside zone 2. Now look at where his bumper is on the wall right here, nice and close to the wall, but he's not deep into the wall that he's crushing the rear of his car. He's just barely grazing that wall, and that's what we want them to do. Now they need to draw a smooth arc from outside zone 2 to inside clip 2, all the way to outside zone 3, which is really wide at the exit of the corner right there. Now let's watch that. You can see that's the finish line and outside zone 3, but let's watch this as a whole run, and just to show you how smooth it is as James is going through this course. Now you can see now exactly how he's going to put all this together. The really smooth rotation to initiation and getting up to that outside zone 1. As you see him on throttle here, there's no bobbles in the car through outside zone 1. Right here, nice transition to the inside clip, and then right there you can see the slowdown, but it's so minimal. We're not looking for the drivers to brake hard there. It's just an adjustment of speed just to get the car to the right spot, back on throttle, smoothly all the way to the finish line. And now that you know where all the points are on the track, you can see how he achieved a 99-point score in that run last year.
Well, luckily we got Robby Nishita to catch up with that number 1 qualifier from last year, James Dean, as well as he's leading the points, to give some insight to what you guys talked about in the drivers' meeting and also how he prepares for qualifying.
This is Robby Nishita here with James Dean. He was a number 1 qualifier here at Irwindale last year, and he qualifies really high at every round. For those of you who can't go to the drivers' meeting, I want to ask you, what does the drivers' meeting do for you? I mean, how does it help you out when you do your qualify runs?
Yeah, so the drivers' meeting is probably one of the most important parts about the weekend, because that's when the drift judges give us exactly what they want to see on track. So they tell us specifically where to be, where the clipping zones are, where the inner clips are. So you need to take very close note on what they're telling us. They tell us where they want to see us slowing down if there's a slowdown area. They tell us where to, transition, where to have big angle, small angle. So it's very important that you take good note of what they say in the meeting and then try to put it into practice on track.
Well, he's a really good listener because he does qualify high a lot. Good luck.
Thank you, man.
Oh, yeah, the sun is setting here at Irwindale Speedway. We are at Irwindale, California. Off in the distance, the sun sets behind downtown L.A. Round 8 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. Our first driver is pulling up to the line, warming up his necks and tires, Sebastian Gautier. He's in that SSG Motorsports S14. Now, Sebastian missed a few rounds, but there's the forecast there. You can see 73 degrees. And the course is really going to change a lot, Ryan, from earlier in the day. A lot of the drivers actually vying for practice runs in the afternoon yesterday into what would mimic head-to-head tomorrow, and I think that's a wise approach.
Yeah, and the practice session that we have for Thursday was a 4-hour practice session from 5 to 9 o'clock, so it really gave them an opportunity to look at what the conditions will be like during most of parts of the competition that we have for not only today but tomorrow, which will have some in the hotter temperatures during the day, but of course under the nights at light time is Irwindale is the way we close it out.
Under the nights at light time?
Yeah, under the lights at nighttime. Is that good?
Deep in the heart of Texas. Under the lights at nighttime is what you meant, but I like it.
Correct.
I knew what you meant. All right, here we go. Sebastian Gautier, Seb, coming out of the gate in that retina-burning vehicle. That is bright orange here as he initiates into the big bank. That's that first outer zone, drops down a little bit. Now he's going to, oh, look at that, regain some height. You can see as those brackets are really solidifying the outside zone, transitioning off of that first inside clip. Now in that second outer zone, you can see him denoted that. Oh, look at that, rubbing up on the wall. Gautier, there is the end of that second outer zone, tight to that front clip, actually pushing it over. So there will be a point deduction for knocking over that front clip, Ryan, as we take another look.
Well, Jared, you saw Ryan Lantane kind of break down the run from James Dean last year, #1 qualification, exactly where to initiate, where to be on the bank. You can see Gautier, even with a couple little mistakes here, putting himself in a good position, given also another aspect that you mentioned about this weekend, missing some drivers due to some things that were really not able to be forecasted. So this scored run for Sebastian Gautier will give him a guaranteed spot into the top 32, and then he'll be able to use that second run in order to figure out where he slots into the overall seating.
Yeah, a lot of updates coming through. We saw Pat Gooden say just unfortunately couldn't get some, had string kind of some bad luck and this and that. But Pat Gooden, what's up, homeboy? I know you're watching, and wish you were here, of course, and I know you wanted to be here as well. Also, Alec Honadale, I know another Floridian driver. He's been dealing with some health issues this year. Matt Kaufman, he talked about on social media. He broke his arm when he was in St. Louis and has had to have multiple surgeries. So I understand he will be here in the building, but will not be driving. So who else am I failing to mention there? Again, Kaufman, Gooden, and then Dylan Hughes. Thank you, Dylan Hughes. Unfortunately, his BMW not here prepared for competition, so he's watching from the sidelines. Dylan Hughes in that Rain-X ITW Brands BMW. So 29 drivers here on the list, and that's what I'm seeing. I trusted that last time, but it looks like 29. So 30, 31, 32. The top 3 drivers who qualify the best will have a fast pass, a bye run in top 32. So Sebastian Gautier with a 74.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see, especially as we get deeper into qualifying, how the top guys that are fighting for a championship qualify, because looking at some of the possibilities of how they've finished during the 7 previous rounds, qualifying could really make a big difference in the overall championship.
All right, Joao Berrion, we saw him in Hyperdrive on Netflix, and he's been a Formula Drift rookie this year, has had some moments of greatness here. This vehicle built and prepared here in the States at C7Z06 was a little off of that outside zone, but now towards a nasty angle, backing it in. Oh, and just too much angle. Bit off more than he could chew there. Joao Berrion really wide around that final front clip, and now tightening it up as Laurent Nichols in the building now with us as well. Joao Berrion wrapping it out.
Well, let's take a look at this again here. You can see the initiation just a bit past that last standing cone there, or just right before it rather. And he's down a bit low on the bank. You can see those lines painted for the judges to take a look at the angle as it approaches that outside wall. Now Berrion getting into this second outside zone here. Good angle, but he angles up a bit too much. Has to pull out of it. Now the judges have a really tough decision to make there. Was that enough for an incomplete, or was he able to keep enough forward momentum? Now, one of the things that's really come into play this year with respect to these incompletes is the judges looking at how that driver was in the position as a lead driver. Was it an unchaseable lead?
Yep.
And in that particular case, we have seen some incompletes being awarded to drivers for big stall-ups like that. So we'll see how the judges take a look at Joao.
That's the big one. Is it chaseable? So they're going to break it down here. The beautiful sunset. You can see just the silhouette of downtown LA. We are live here at Irwindale Speedway. The judge is reviewing it again. But as we watch Joao Barillon, again, a Formula Drift rookie. We've seen him in Hyperdrive on Netflix. And mid on the bank definitely needs to be higher there. So this is his first time driving this iconic track. This has got to be a special moment for him. This Monster Energy vehicle now into the outside zone. So looking from this angle. That's a big correction.
Yeah, they wanted to see that camera shot to take a look at whether or not from that particular angle, if you could imagine a chase driver in there, would it have been a tough position for him to chase? And so that is exactly what they're looking at.
All right, so there we are with Kyle Mohan as Max. He's a new father to Mr. Max Mohan. I know they're here in the building in his American Ethanol Mazda Trix Mazda RX-8. Getting prepared.
Yeah, I had a chance to visit with Kyle's dad at the office this past weekend, as we do see the official score coming in for Joao. And
that's incomplete.
Mr. Mohan was saying, you know, I always know when we're making progress with the vehicle, and I feel like we've got something really strong that's coming together, because sometimes Kyle will come off the track and be like, Dad, this is crazy. I feel like it's going to crash. And then now it's really starting to come together, and they feel that they've got a really strong car now and really gaining some confidence. So it'll be interesting to see how he attacks one of his other home courses.
Well, he knows his course. He's been here for numerous years. We'd love to see Mohan get on the box, and he gets up high on that bank, drops down a little bit here. We can see that drone in tow there. Johnny FPV works his way up top portion of the outside zone transition past the first front clip. Looked like his transition was a little too early there on that crossover. Now in that second outer zone, could definitely get out a little bit consistent. You can see that smoke trail consistent with the throttle. The lone rotary in competition, crossing that finish line and shoots off some flames. Kyle the Menace Mohan.
Yeah, not a bad start here for Kyle. Let's take a look at it again. He gets the initiation right there at that last standing marker. Goes down a little bit on the bank, about midway, starts to move his way up. Great angle here leaving the bank, and is still able to keep some good forward momentum. You can really hear the car just drops there for a second. A little bit of adjustment getting into that decel zone, but now into the second outside zone. Good angle, nice smoke line here, just a little bit off the wall, leaves the zone right around the right time. And nice and tight on that final inside clip as he pushes out to that final and third outside zone is Kyle Mohan.
You know, this year we've making great use of the different drones. You know, in some events we'll have this FPV, which I would say definitely is exciting, and we've utilized it, especially in head-to-head. And then we've had just the long shot drone, which really kind of gets right over, gets that bird's eye POV right over the action. And both have just been a great instrumental tool, not only for making it look sensational and awesome, right? I mean, there's been multiple articles about, man, who knew that we needed drones in racing? And it really fits what drifting is all about, but also, you know, it looks sensational, but also it's utilized by the judges tremendously.
Yeah, it's been a tremendous judging tool, both the FPV drone and the overhead, and Johnny has really come through with some tremendous shots overall.
A 71 there for Kyle the Menace Mohan, excuse me, and the American Ethanol Mazda Trix Mazda RX-8. Next up, Austin Meeks, committed service brand Achilles Radial Nissan S14. As you can see the cinema animal talent. Austin Meeks, ready to throw down. Excuse me, I said Achilles there. He's obviously on Nexen tire, so I apologize there, but on Nexen tire. The Ferocious Motorsports Cadillac throws it down, middle of the road here. Now transitions past that front clip. Keeping it smooth, but not exactly putting the car where it needs to be. You can see good, even throttle there from Austin Meeks as he punts that front clip out of the way, flirting with that wall. Now, Ryan, maybe break down what the judges are looking for, because that last, when they cross the finish line, there is a zone out there.
Yeah, that is the third and final outside zone. You can see Meeks does get an initiation before the last standing cone, but he's a bit low on the bank here, midline, pretty much all the way. You can see that slight adjustment in the front wheels there, and then right there through that inside clip, he was quite a ways off that. Much better here on the inside bank. He's deeper into this outside zone on a more consistent line, though not all the way as deep as you'd like him to be, and a bit tight there on that final inside clip, though he is able to reach out to that final outside zone. And this may be a relatively good strategy here for Meeks, trying to get a score in the book on run number 1, and then see what he needs to do on run number 2, guaranteeing that he is going to be into the top 32 with this score.
Brian, I absolutely completely blacked out there, and I called him the incorrect tire sponsor, which he's on Nexen, and I even said it was S14. I was just looking at my notes. I very well know that is a Cadillac ATSV, so I apologize there to Meeks and his team, and of course the Ferocious Motorsports team as well. So As Austin Meeks waits for his score, we'll see where he lands. Casual Friday, a lot of fans coming out here today. 68 there for Meeks and his ferocious Nexen tire Cadillac ATS-V. All right, next up, Kevin Lawrence, K-Lawn, the Shinjuku Racing S14.3. And here comes Kevin Lawrence. See how he handles this in that RB-powered S chassis. Big high on the bank. Now transitioning through into that second outer zone. Kevin Lawrence, you can see, throws it in a little maybe hesitant, but now smooth is Kevin Lawrence. So Ryan, that outside zone there, filling all of it.
Yeah, Kevin has had some really shining moments this year, but really trying to make this last event count as much as he can. You can see he got that right in that little decel zone, then got back on throttle. Mid-high line on the bank, now moving down into this inside clip. Good angle here, but just a bit off that in terms of line. You can see he kind of lets it float out there for a little bit. Little tiny adjustment as he tries to get settled in the vehicle. Now he leaves that second outside zone. Great on that inside clip and good angle filling that final outside zone. So able to make up some ground there on the second half of the course. Here he is down on the bank, Jared. You can see he's not fully filling that zone, but he's getting pretty close to the wall there and does a really good job on that final inside clip and that last outside zone.
You can see those cones there on the right-hand side across the finish line. That is to let the drivers know that center course there is a drainage gate there, so I want to make sure that they avoid that. Kevin Lawrence awaits his score, and he receives one, a 70. So Kevin Lawrence will be seeing head-to-head action right now. Joao Berillon is the only driver that does not have a score. Again, everybody will move on as long as they receive a score, and the top 3 will have a bye run in top 32. So those are going to be some coveted spots, especially for these championship contenders. You know, the top 5, James Dean, Osbo, Pieter, Odie, and Forsberg. Here we go. Next up, Taylor Hull, the Comp Cams Achilles Radial, another Cadillac ATS-V in the building from Georgia. Mr. Hull, full pull Hull, really high on the bank. Second season with this vehicle and just really getting it dialed, Ryan. I like the way Hull has just incrementally progressed, and now look at, you can see the car very settled there as the Achilles tires just kick out a ton of smoke out of the back. And man, that was a solid run there. Probably one of the best runs I've seen from Hull behind the wheel of, again, the sophomore season for this Cadillac.
And Jared, we have the final and 4th episode of the Privateer Profile featuring Taylor Hull airing this weekend. And in previous episodes, he talked about how well he did last year, the accumulation of last year's season right here in 2019, though, starting off his first qualifying run, going deep into that inside bank, really right up against the wall there. And this is a really high-level, high-quality run from Taylor Hull, coming out with a very strong approach in run number 1 and making it look good. Let's take a look on board here. As he leaves that inside clip, you can see he tucks right up on the inside, but gets right to that wall, stays on a really consistent line that's fairly deep to the wall, and then super tight on that inside clip, and then right through that finish line.
Well, I think Taylor's definitely going to score well here. So Taylor awaits a score, and a 79 takes the lead. A 79 there for Taylor Hull on his first run. So there we go, full pull Hull. Next up, Federico Shetty, the Triple F drifting department. Fiorella Ferrari 599. All right, Sharifo on Nexen tires through that start chicane. Firing off in the beautiful V12 Ferrari. You can hear that signature Ferrari exhaust note. Past that front clip, you can see just sliding on by, you can see that smoke trail, Ryan. So you see the lift there as he approaches that second outer zone. Right, I saw you conversing with the judges, kind of finding the nuances and the details in regards to, points being taken away or however you see fit. But what was the conversation over there?
Well, we'll see if it applies to this run that we're going to see here from Federico. But really, it was about Lantain talking about the automatic deductions for lifts in certain areas and also hitting inside clips. You can see Federico avoids that inside clip, which would be an automatic 2-point deduction. He may have lifted before that transition, and that would be an automatic 5-point deduction for style. So as you see him finish up this run here, you can see struggling a little bit with the line, and then really maxes out the angle there towards the end. Let's take a look on the drone and see how he enters it. Now that's a decel zone right before they get into the second inside bank. He seemed to manage the bank pretty well, stayed consistent with the throttle, got that inside clip and that outside zone pretty well. We've seen a lot of drivers do that, so that seems to be a part of the course drivers are not having too tough of a problem with, but we know this big bank is very, very challenging, and getting that right transition to that inside clip, pushing into the lower bank is definitely a big ask for a lot of these drivers.
All right, Rad Dan Drift. Dan Burkett, Rad Industries, Nexen Tires, Toyota Supra. As Federico waits for his score. And it's coming in here for Dan Burkett, or excuse me, Federico Sharifo. There's a 70 as Burkett is on the start line. So Federico into that 4th position. Triple F drifting department, Nexen Tire, Ferrari 599. Visor down, locked and loaded. Rad Dan. Business up front, parting the rear. The molded one throws it in. Great looking Toyota Supra. Always love the style that Dan Burkett throws out there. Big angle, and he holds onto it. Past the front clip, snappy into that second outer zone. It looks like it grips up and shoots on the inside. Doesn't get all the way to dragging that bumper. But tight to that front clip and crossing the finish line. Dan Burkett, great showing from him.
So take a look at it again. Good approach here, nice speed down the back straight. Gets a pretty good initiation here. Narrowly taps the wall, has to make an adjustment there, but makes it look pretty good. Big angle coming off the bank. Let's see if he stays on throttle through the inside clip. Just a tiny bit of a lift there. Now he gets into that second outside zone, mid-line through this section of the course, then starts to reach out a little bit deeper. Nice throttle through here. Pretty tight on that inside clip and right up against the wall with big angle to finish off his run.
Yeah, Dan Burkett, just a tenacious driver. Just really, really wants it, just hunting down that carbon fiber trophy, wants to get on the box. I would love to see him do that, especially, you know, here at Irwindale, such an iconic track. He lives here in Southern California, originally from the Pacific Northwest. Saw a great, oh, there we go, 79, a 79 there for Dan Burkett. So a solid score for him. Saw a great piece that he wrote on social media about Gear Wrench, one of his sponsors, and the first set of tools when he moved to California was Gear Wrench tools was given to him from his dad, who is now no longer with us, but it was a really heartfelt post. I really appreciated that. It was nice, Dan. Thanks for sharing. Dirk Stratton. Dirk Stratton, speaking of father and son, his father a drag racer of former years and now investing into his boy. Dirk Stratton, he's out here. Dagger from Ohio. Piloting that Lingenfelter, Fortune Auto, Achilles Tire, Stratton Chevrolet, Corvette. Says he really likes this track, feels the grip, and really consistent. You can see hammering down through a brick. I mean, zip tied the gas pedal down. Ooh, taps the wall, stays in it. Can he hold on to it? Oh, and he does not. Oh, such a bummer. All right, Ryan, let's take a look at it here again.
Yeah, just taking a look at it. Obviously, you know, we're pretty confident it's going to be an incomplete. Let's take a look at the rest of the run. Midline here. You can hear the throttle. But listen, he's going to have a big lift right here. And then get back on the throttle right at that inside clip. Now coming into the second outside zone. He's going to start pushing out deep here. Tap the wall, make an adjustment, angles up, gets off throttle, lets it float out, realizes he needs to get back on throttle to reach through that inside clip. And unfortunately, the wheels are going to come straight. He ran out of room there through that inside clip, and that is going to be an incomplete for run number 1.
Gutted, man, that's a bummer. So, you know, keep it between the lines, Dirk. We gotta make sure that you get a score in order to see head-to-head action. I know they were having issues with the supercharger earlier in the year, and they pulled that off. So he's going NA, no spray, you know, no nitrous, and no power adders. Next up, Jeff Jones. Relentless. All right, here we go. Jones. Nexen Tire, Doc, Nissan 370Z. Got the Edelbrock supercharger atop that LS. Here goes Jeff into the bank. He's very familiar with this course. He's been here for numerous years. Whoa, big angle from him, but that is not going to. Oh, that's a hard hit. Oh, man, that's a hard hit. And, you know, fortunately, we'll just lay out here and make sure he's okay. We've seen him move, but I think his ego is going to be a little bit bruised here as opposed to also his car.
Well, one of the things I've learned over the years from Judge Andy Yen is you kind of have to watch the cause and effect of how these things add up over time. And right here, you can start to see this starts to manifest itself right before that inside clip. He got to angle there, and he was not able to bring it around. And by that time, he knew that he was going to be going towards the wall. He pretty much had to ride this thing out. And unfortunately, he did make contact from the wall there, or with the wall rather, and a nice little bump in there on the driver's side. So we'll have to hopefully make sure that he is okay, but looks like he is out of the vehicle now, Jared. But certainly you can see from this position, looks like some damage there, more than aesthetic, that he will have to address for run number 2.
No, I think he's still in there, bud. But yeah, we'll get him out of there. We're seeing him move, which is good. But man, quite a bummer there. All right, so as we will get Jeff Jones here off the course, want to give back to you. This is our final round. So vote for your favorite engine from each round of Formula Drift competition. And we have another set of free JE Pistons to give away here after this final round of competition. It's really easy. Just go to jepistons.com/Formula Drift, cast your vote, submit your name and email to enter, and you could win a set of free JE Pistons. Well, you got to do a little work. You got to go online. Again, jepistons.com/Formula Drift. So got some time down right now, so go ahead and do that. You could also win a set of BC Racing custom coilovers. Head over to formulad.com/BC Racing and vote for your favorite BC Racing Drift initiation. Be entered to win a free set of BC Racing BR Series coilovers. So formulad.com/BC Racing. So we're giving back to you. So go ahead and do that. So got a break here. We'll give you a few commercials here. When we come back, we'll get Jeff off course and continue with the action. Next on deck from Dominican Republic will be Jonathan Castro. How we doing out there? So look at that, man. Hats off to our Irwindale Speedway team here. Ryan, the big elephant in the room here is the championship is still up for grabs. Only 19 points separate James Dean and that of Osbo in second. But again, Pieter and Odie still have an opportunity to seize the day.
Yeah, and we went through where the points disparity is right now. You got 66 and 67 points out, respectively, for Peter Vinsek and Odie Bachis. 19 points back is Frederick Osbo, obviously James Dean in the lead. And that 19 points is really interesting because we know both Osbo and Dean historically qualify very well. And that 19 points, if it were to gap to 20, that would be one position from first place to second place. So a potential scenario is James Dean qualifies first, Osbo qualifies second, right? Something like that.
Yeah, it works its way because what you're saying is opposite side of the bracket, left side, right side
of the bracket. They meet in the finals.
People can't see your hands, so you got to
Yeah, I'm doing it for you. This
yeah,
is the illustration for you. They meet in the finals, and they would tie in championship points.
Right. Crazy.
Osbo at that point would win the championship because he finished higher than Dean at this round.
Right.
So, and there's a couple other possibilities out there as well where there could be some ties, which would be super interesting. Really, for Odie and for Peter Vinsek, they need James Dean and Osbo to go out in the 16 or 8 respectively.
Right.
And then they've got a real shot at it.
All right, so here we go. Jonathan Castro. Jonathan Castro getting prepared and going for it. Castro. So Jeff Jones, obviously. So, Ryan, that's already 3 incompletes. So that would mean, shoot, right now, if this ended, six drivers, the top 6 qualifying drivers, would advance on from 32 into the 16. Here we go, Jonathan Castro, Jardot, Metodam, Toyota Racing, Toyota 86. He likes these banked courses. He could really rise to the occasion. Oh, just to say that, shuts her down. Oh, my goodness. Ryan, another driver with an incomplete run, and his car just right off the bat on initiation is not 100%. What a bummer for him.
Yeah, and wasn't really paying attention deeply to whether or not he was having problems in practice, so I don't know if that was beginning earlier on. But let's take a look at this here. You can see it looks like he's having trouble breaking the wheels loose, leaving the back straight there, and just was not able to initiate. Here it is from the backside. You can see a little bit of a blowback there, and then not able to get the car sideways. So certainly something going wrong with the vehicle, and an unfortunate and pressure-filled run number 2 to come for Jonathan Castro.
Ryan, have you? When was the last time you rode in a car here at Irwindale? When was the last time?
Here at Irwindale?
Yeah.
Oh, it's been years.
Right.
Yeah.
I did. Gucci took me a ride probably 3 years ago or so. It was in his 86, so it's definitely been a few in the recent years. Loving that helmet there from Ryan Literal from the 909 from Riverside, California. Oh wow. Okay, Ryan, getting all tech over here. Got the working the math, working the numbers over here. Talking about the championship, the hunt.
Yep.
Ryan Literal on the start line, the power stop. Coro Works, Nissan 350Z. Threw some nitrous at this thing, and would love to see Literal throw down here. You can see Focus. Coro Works operated out of Atlanta, Georgia. And here we go. Oh, look at this. We got the underglow. Ding, 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 ding. Here we go. Ryan Little throws it in. Gets on the bank. Throws some more angle at it, actually. Look at that. A little bit of wavering there, Ryan. I know the judges didn't want to see wavering, but now it looks like he's dialed in. Yeah, turns on the smoke machine. Firing off past that front clip. You can see, whoa, big angle there. As he comes unbound here across the finish line, and that looks great. I mean, earlier in practice, I saw him kind of have some struggles, but putting it together here.
Yeah, and you mentioned a little bit of the wavering. That certainly comes into the fluidity and commitment side of things, which make up style. And let's take a look as he comes off the bank there. Was on a mid-high line, moved his way up, floats it out into that inside clip now, back on the throttle after the decel zone, mashing it down, really putting a lot of movement, a lot of distance between him and that wall, and closing it there towards the end. Let's take a look at it here. You can see he dives right in midline, then he starts moving deeper and deeper. Look at that front wheel crossing right in front of that painted line there, designating the final section of that outside zone. So for Ryan Littoral, there's some really good moments overall. We'll see how the judges treat that run number 1.
Ryan Littoral with a 77 there for Ryan Littoral. So he does get a score on the board. I know he's going to work hard for it here on the second run. Right now, Travis Reeder, look at that. He's got his high-vis glasses on there. Looks like some yellow lenses, some heat waves. Better the vision here at night. Sharpen it up. All right. And Reeder, old red here. Travis Reeder, the Walmart greeter. I'm joking. He's not. I know he doesn't work at a Walmart. It's always a joke. Here we go. Napoleon Motorsports, Nitto Tire S13. First ever driver to have an electric vehicle. That car getting prepared for next season. Oh, slams into the wall. Stays in it. Committed. Well done there for Travis Reeder. Rocks that back end. Again, that's what you're going to see here at Irwindale, especially tomorrow. Game day, you want to keep your car together, but they're going to leave it all out on the course here tomorrow night.
Well, Jared, we talked about the elephant in the room for the championship. Another one is actually coming to a close right here. And in fact, it came to a close earlier on in the afternoon. With Dylan Hughes going out of competition, Travis Reeder has basically solidified the Rookie of the Year status because he is ahead in points of Dylan Hughes right now, and he will finish ahead while he finishes up this qualifying run. So that is your 2019 Rookie of the Year right there, with Dylan Hughes unfortunately not being able to make it to this event and take the fight to Reeder.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate turn of events there for Dylan Hughes. The vehicle unable to be here. So as Reeder gets a score, he definitely slammed in, but stayed in angle, stayed in drift on that second outer zone. 79, a 79. Looks like he ties a Taylor Hole, that 79.
79 is very popular tonight.
Yeah, these guys, yeah. Reeder, Burkett, Hole. These guys, big fans of the 79. Yeah, these guys are real tough crowd here. No respect, no respect. Who was that? What was the comedian's name? The no respect. Back to school. What's his name? Jason, help me out here. You're laughing. Rodney Dangerfield. Thank you very much. All right, Dean Carnage Kearney here on the Oracle Lighting. Keeley's Tire Dodge Viper. And here we go through that start chicane. Let's see what Dean Kearney has. Oh, nasty initiation there from Kearney. High on the bank, pulling through. Nice job there, the Oracle lights on that front clip. Ryan, we'll see how the judges see that transition on that front clip. Second outer zone, getting all the way out there. Tightens it up to the front clip. A solid run there. Ryan, this very well might be our first 80 score in the 80s, but point of contention for me is the transition off the bank into the second outer zone.
Well, it's a really solid initiation. However, it gets it started off pretty strong, and Dean has taken upon himself to drift this massive beast. And he talks a lot about the vehicle, how much he loves it, and at moments he has looked absolutely unstoppable with what he's been able to do with that vehicle. Here, coming down into the second bank, a little bit of movement there, but the line is very risky, right up against the wall, really demonstrating to the judges that he can push the pace there towards the end. And taking a look at this initiation again, look at this snap, boom, right there, and pretty much holds it and then gets right on line. I think that will be rewarded well by the judges. And then notice the fluidity as he stays through that section of the bank, nice and high, and then connects to that inside clip. So I definitely think this will be very well praised by the judges. And look at the sparks coming off the inside there. Wow, that was really interesting, that the left tire there from Dean Kearney.
Let's see what Dean throws on the board, and there it is, our first 80 at 84. So as the judges see that. You can see 28, so almost near perfect on line. 28 out of 30 as Kazuya Taguchi. Tell you what, he's one to watch. This up garage S15 is just, I mean, they are peanut butter and jelly. Here we go, meaning they worked well together. So Taguchi really hitting his stride here in the S15, the VR engine, so it's a GTR engine poking out of the hood of the S15. Quick little transition there from Taguchi. Let's see how he handles that second outer zone. Really backs it in there. Well done there for Kazuya Taguchi. Like I said, he is one to watch here at Irwindale.
Well, Jared,
right, look at this extra credit here.
Yeah, he seems pretty hyped on that run, and for good reason. He had one little tiny mistake after inside clip 1, trying to balance the vehicle back out before entering the zone. But look at that nice initiation, mid-high line on the bank, but still pretty consistent. Then moves up closer to the bank with big angle here. Now stays on throttle past that inside clip, or just right before it. Gets in the decel zone, then back on it. That's where he had that little bit of an adjustment, but right up against the wall here. Great angle, bounces off there for a second. Now moves into that inside clip, perfect. And then right to the outside zone, finishing off very strong. Let's take a look from on board the drone camera, and you get a really good look of just how tight to the wall he was there. Most of the tires, including that front left, behind that yellow line, which indicates he is right up against the wall there. So great job by Kazuya Taguchi.
And Taguchi with a 90. Takes a dominant lead there. The closest one was, we saw Dean Kearney with an 84, but Taguchi, you can see 27, 27, and then 36. So still leaving some points out there on the course, but a great progression as we work our way through the drivers. Ken Gushi comes into this round of competition. He is a day one veteran of Formula Drift. Ken Gushi and the Greddy Performance Products Toyota Racing Achilles tire, Toyota 86. And Ken Gushi ready to leave that start line. Here we go. So there you can see our Permatex Pro qualifying leaderboard. Gushi, locked and loaded. Those white wheels do not lie. Neither do his hips. Here we go, transitioning past that front clip into the second outer zone. Comes up a little bit short there, but he can massage it, back it in, and he does that. You can see the reflection of his headlights getting closer and closer past that final front clip and crosses the finish line. Ryan really liked how he executed on the bank. Just, I think, left a little bit of points on the bottom section.
Well, you'll remember it was not too many years ago that Ken Gushi was fighting for a championship at this very track, ending up in the finals against Frederick Osbo. Osbo ended up getting the nod there that year, but it's with runs like this, very aggressive, silky smooth. Like you said, a couple little areas where he could have done better, but great execution on the lower bank here. Stays in that zone for the entirety of the time. Hits that inside marker on that final inside clip and angles up there for a little bit of pizzazz there on that final outside zone, dropping down into the bank. Let's take a look. Look at those front wheels right there on those yellow lines, just on the inside. Leaves the zone at the right time. Very fluid through that final inside clip, and then boom, right to the outside zone. So good run by Ken Gushi. Certainly, definitely could make it better for run number 2, but overall, a great first run that'll get him right into the top 32.
And it was such a good run. You said a word I've never heard you say, and ever, pizzazz. I like it. And that was a pizzazzy run right there, deserving of a 90. So Ken Gushi with a 90. So back-to-back. Taguchi with the 90, and then Gushi with that pizzazzful 90 run as well. Here we go. Forrest Wang with this brand new carbon Kevlar bits, the Super Doof carbon Kevlar fenders and front. Great looking vehicle. But right now, here goes Forrest Wang trying to get nuts out here. All right, transitioning past that front clip. Big angle from him. The Super Doof kit out here. Oh, look at that bat. Really, look at the front reflection. At a loss for words here. Really good angle from Forrest Wang. Really known for that. Solid execution there from Wang.
Well, if you like the championship, the way it played out last year at this track, you can thank Forrest Wang because it was he who eliminated James Dean in the top 16. He's very familiar with this course. He's had a podium here before. Little bit left to be desired on the bank, coming down a little bit too early, but now he starts kicking it into gear. Gets right into the risky part of the course, deep into this outside zone, number 2. Great smoke line, very consistent. Gets off that bank and that zone at the right time, and then right through that final outside zone. So he'll definitely want to get that first bank again. He can certainly improve on that, but this lower bank is just really precise and knocking it out of the park, leaving right on time through that final section, and then pushing out to that outside zone on the final wall to the right-hand side. So Forrest Wang finishing up run number 1.
All right, next up you could see, and there's Forrest Wang scoring 87. That's an 87 there for Forrest Wang. Puts him into number 3 position. Next up, you got JTP, who earlier this season, if you can recall, he got that perfect run. That was in New Jersey, correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, Formula Drift New Jersey got that 100-point run. All right, here goes the Roush Performance Falcon Tires Ford Mustang, throwing it down. Big angle there from JTP. Again, more white wheels that do not lie. Massive angle past that transition. Judges really not wanting them to lift, just hammer down. Big angle from, look at that. I mean, he's parallel parked that thing. Just glances that front clip, Ryan. Wish he was a little deeper on that last outside clip, but exciting run to watch regardless.
Listen to this, right?
Yeah.
Here. There's no throttle control, there's just throttle.
Right.
All the way from initiation, the full bank, he is maxed out. He makes a little bit of a lift right here, but then he tries to get right back on it coming into this second outside zone, and I really like the way he's swinging the car around. He probably could have been a little bit more precise with it, but look at that angle leaving that second outside zone there. Beautifully done, and just a little bit short on that final outside zone, but in terms of commitment, great job by JTP and showing some of that massive angle that did give him that 100-point run in Jersey, where he was really flirting on the razor's edge and was able to pull it off. A stellar first run for JTP here at Irwindale Speedway.
Okay, there we go in 94. He takes the lead there with that number 1 qualifying position so far, a 94 for JTP Justin Pollock. All right, some more teal and blue. Matt Field. Matt Field leaves the start line. That Falcon Tires. Borla exhaust Corvette. The Beast from the Bay turns it on. Locked and loaded, if you can recall. Car definitely got thrashed. He threw it down in Texas, but every corner was stripped, but got that thing back together at the Drift Cave, his shop in the Bay Area. Now past that front clip, and his eyes are on the prize. He said he's prepared for battle.
Well, Matt Field has had a really strong season, and Jared, if you remember going back to last round, we talked to Judge Ryan Lantain in the battle of the top 16 with James Dean. Field made that little mistake in the final corner there, and had he not, it was agreed that basically Matt Field would have defeated James Dean in the top 16. That's how strong he was looking in Texas, and he's continuing that momentum here into Irwindale. He wants to take that as a learning experience, come out here and blow doors at Irwindale. A pretty solid solid first run for him. Left a little bit of the line points out on the table there in that final outside zone, but should be enough for him to have a fighting shot into the top 16, certainly into the top 32, and of course something to build on as he prepares for run number 2.
All right, an 85, so has an opportunity to better that on his second run for sure, and he's going to go for it, but he can rest assured that he will be in the head-to-head competition tomorrow. Now we are into top 10 coming into this round. Vaughn Gittin Jr., who in Texas, what unfolded and transpired for him was very unfortunate in practice. Had issues with the engine, tried to get it out, get it in, get it dialed, but was unable to pull to the line for head-to-head competition. So here we go. Here we go with Vaughn Gittin Jr. That Monster Energy Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR. Ryan, talk about that exhaust note. There it is again. Just staying consistent there. You can see brings it around that final front clip.
Well, if anybody's got motivation, you certainly have to think that it's Vaughn. Not only did he not have the event that he wanted to have in Texas, after a season that he wasn't excited about last year, he won this event in dominant fashion. Here he is in his first qualifying run, mid-high line there. Through that inside clip, good transition there. Moving into the inside bank, enters it early, stays deep. Big angle here. And remember, it was that section of the course that ended up getting the best of Frederick Osbo after 2-1 more times in the finals. Gittin just had enough in the vehicle. Both drivers were banging right up against the wall, and he was able to strip away the second championship dreams for Frederick Osbo in favor of James Dean. But I think if anybody's got underlying motivation here this weekend, it's Vaughn Gittin Jr. trying to rack up some points after a disappointing finish in the top 32 at Texas, and trying to come back from where he was just on top of the podium last year here at Irwindale.
All right, Vaughn Gittin Jr. with an 87. Yeah, that's a great reminder that Vaughn, you know, him and Osbo went and threw down in the finals, basically, you know, sealing the deal for James Dean to get the championship, and played spoiler. So another former champ, Michael Essa, here in this Achilles Tire also Essa Autosports BMW. That Brett King design helmet there inside the cockpit of Michael Essa. Man, the smoke. Ryan lingering, hanging out. So need to get a little bit of a gust here in order to see. And Essa waits patiently, but Essa sitting 9th overall in the championship. As Essa living here in Southern California. And there we go. Lid is dropped. Thumbs up. Locked and loaded. Here we go. Michael Essa. Essa Autosports Keyless Tire BMW. Initiates into the bank. And quick little waver, but keeps it very high on the bank. So he handles his transition. Big angle from him. Now in that second outer zone. Man, that back half of the car is just absolutely covered with smoke, and brings it, massages it around that front clip and into the final clip, as well as the finish line.
Well, we all know that left foot braking is a ubiquitous use in drifting, and you can see Michael Essa pretty much using it the entirety of that big bank. Now that is allowed as long as he keeps his forward momentum moving forward. These are the tools that the drifters have at their hands here. Now coming into this inside clip, Essa looking pretty smooth into the second part of the bank. Good angle there, very close proximity to the wall, maintaining a great line, leaving at the right time. Now coming up into this inside clip, slight little adjustment there, but really moves out to that final outside zone. Here he is here, right up against the wall, literally a fingernail distance there. Really good driving from Michael Essa on the lower bank, and looking solid here as he finishes up run number 1.
See the smoke just lingering there. No breeze hardly at all. A 90, a 9-0 for Michael Essa. That is a 90 for Michael Essa. Sitting 8th in the championship, Slide or Daijiro Yoshihara. Dai, you can see his arm restraints getting locked in, and the driver's waiting patiently there. You can see kind of going through the motions, checking the gloves, little fidget here and there. A lot of these drivers have routine. You can see them stretching out, Ryan.
Yeah, I had a chance to see Dai come into the office this week. I mentioned this on the Maximum Driftcast podcast. And Dai said, going for number 1 qualifier, and I'm going to win the event.
Okay. I like that. You know, he's always been kind of a humble, quiet guy.
Yeah, and he always says it in the Dai way, but you have to remember, he lost a championship here and won it in the same night.
Right, yeah. It was the only time I ever cussed at a live event, and I cussed twice that night, just to give you any idea. Here we go, Daijiro Yoshihara, turn 14, distribution, Falcon Tires, Subaru BRZ. Oh, big snappy transition there from Daijiro into that second outer zone. Ryan, will this be number 1 as he claimed? Woo! Using all of the course, out to in, comes unbound. Ryan, let's take a look at that again. Is that enough to take that number 1 spot?
Let's take a look at the silky smooth style of Daijiro Yoshihara. You can see that initiation flowing right into it. A little bit of an adjustment there on the big bank. And maybe losing a couple points in fluidity. Now coming into that inside clip. There's the decel zone. He's back on throttle. He got in that zone a little bit awkwardly, but now he's locked in here. Stays pretty deep, almost right into the area of the course where the tire particulate really starts to accumulate. But overall, pretty good run from here from Dai. He's back on throttle early, gets into that zone just a little bit late. But from here, he's really locked in, and you can see Johnny on board following him all the way through. Here's that last inside clip pushing out to the final zone. And that is the style that we've come to know Daijiro Yoshihara in that BRZ throughout the past couple of years, and locks in a good run here. Let's see what the score is.
All right. And an 86 for Yoshihara. Not enough to take that #1 spot, but still very respectable with an 86 on his first run. So I'm sure he's going to push it a little further there. You can see Marty McFly there on the side of the helmet. The number 88, Chelsea Denofa, his favorite movie, Back to the Future. And you recall many years ago, the flames thrown down in Florida. Pizza on the steering wheel. Chelsea Denofa, our most recent winner at Texas Motor Speedway, around 7. Just our previous round. Can he go back-to-back on the box? Chelsea Denofa, the BC Racing Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR, ready to rowdy. Throws it in. Let's listen to this thing purr. Quick little, you could hear just a small disruption, but the exhaust, no, look at that. Backing it in, slamming the taillight on the wall. Looks like it throws him a little bit off of that front clip, but maxing out the angle across the finish line, Ryan. And he called it. You know, we did voiceover for round 7, and it's fresh in my mind. He says, I'm coming for Irwindale.
And he certainly has here in this first run. There was really no dip in throttle whatsoever from initiation all the way through that big bank. Makes quick work of that. Right here, transition, still on throttle through that inside clip, then right into the decel zone, then right back on throttle into this outside zone. There's a couple little quirks in the vehicle. He taps the wall, makes some adjustments, and maybe a little bit off that second inside clip, but a very aggressive run. And that was one of the things that was really stand out, wasn't it, Jared? Not only in this season, but in particular last round where he got that win. He was doing things at that first inside clip that really no other driver was doing, carrying massive angle but maintaining the momentum through that inside clip, and ultimately that was able to smoke out a lot of drivers, give him the win, and he looked phenomenal in Texas. And ironically, it's actually his win has helped Frederick Osbo. So last year RTR hurt Frederick Osbo with Vaughn, and this year it helped him in Texas.
Okay. So I guess, you know, Chelsea felt bad about it. But a 93 there for Chelsea Denofa, #2 spot. Justin Pollock, we saw him with that perfect run earlier this year. The only other driver, we saw Tanner Faust back in the day, and then also this year, just last round, we saw James Dean. It's like Ryan Turk. He's got something in his eye. You can see him just shaking a little bit there. Yeah, the smoke, it is very dense. Yeah, it's very difficult to see, and it might look thin here and there, but overall, when that light hits that smoke, it definitely thickens up.
Yeah, from our position up here, it's hard to see on the screen as in detailed as we can, but it's very opaque out there.
Yeah, so.
And not a lot of wind here tonight. It's actually a beautiful weekend, but no breeze in trying to get the tire smoke moved off course.
Yeah, very warm through the day, and then when the sun drops, it cools down tremendously, and that changes the track conditions. We were talking about it earlier, and how a lot of the drivers vied for practice last night, which is going to be ideal conditions for head-to-head. Nice job by Ryan Turk, this gum out Toyota Racing Toyota 86 on Nitto tires, and an awesome energy drink. Now into that second outer zone, dialed those 1552 wheels. Wrapped a Nitto tire across the finish line. Ryan Turkey got that victory earlier in the year in New Jersey. Ryan?
Well, let's take a look at Ryan Turkey, who's probably had the most storied year of any driver after what we've talked about a lot, getting knocked out and really actually hurt in Long Beach, building that new vehicle, coming out and getting that win in New Jersey, and a great positioning also at Road Atlanta. He is right there in the mix. Now in his qualifying run, right up against the wall in that second outside zone. Second hash mark on that final inside clip, and really flying through the course here. Let's take a look as we drop down onto the inside bake. Look at that left front wheel. A slight little adjustment there, but he was really deep into that zone. Just missed that second inside clip by 1 hash mark, so we'll see how the judges take a look at that. But Ryan Turk has had a phenomenal season in a season that really could have been a throwaway for him.
Oh man, it could have been real detrimental, but his team thrashed and getting the car not back together, a new car. This was his demo. They called it the street car, and that's how you can define it. It has the gray roof, but a 93. That's a 9.3 for Ryan Turk. So back-to-back 93s. Saw Chelsea and now Ryan Turk. And next up, we see the other blackout teammate, Chris Forsberg.
Yeah, it is worth mentioning. Chris was in championship contention coming into this event with these drivers ahead of him. If they qualify, that would pretty much put it officially out for Chris Forsberg. He's 96 points out right now, so he's within that threshold. But once you have somebody below him like Odie or Peter or Frederick or James qualify, that would officially take him out of the championship hunt.
Right. Yeah, not so much below, but after him.
Yeah.
With current standings, higher position. All right, so Chris Forsberg waiting. Looks like the smoke has dissipated. The NOS energy drink, Nissan 370Z on necks and tires. Doylestown, Pennsylvania, throws it in. Talking with him earlier, feeling really confident, liking the course, feeling the car. Let's see how this VR-powered 370Z. See the flames shooting out of the hood. Getting really close to that wall. You can see the reflection of the taillights. Whoa! And getting all the way out there, dragging bumper across the finish line on that wall.
Well, here we go. The 3-time champ taking his first run here. Gets a nice initiation into the bank. Mid-high line, starts to work his way up closer. Pretty consistent line here from Forsberg. Now coming down off. See if he stays on throttle. Right through that inside clip. Now moving into the second outside zone. Really mashing the throttle here and staying deep into that second outside zone. Right up against the wall. Nice adjustment there. Smooth through that final inside clip and right up against the wall there.
Right.
Making it look good and a solid run here in run number 1 for the 3-time champ. And wanting it to stay that way, I would imagine, as James Dean looks for his 3rd consecutively. You have to wonder how Forsberg might play a potential role depending on where he slots into the bracket tomorrow.
Yeah, his bumper expense. He's been tapping that bumper there on the wall last night, now today. So let's see where Forsberg lands after his first run. 4 more drivers left, but then we'll go through all the drivers on their second qualifying run. And an 89 for Chris Forsberg. You can see some points left out there with 26 in line, 28, and then a 35. So an 89 for Chris Forsberg. All right, sitting 4th in points. He kicked things off so strong. Round 1 and round 2. Odie Bakshis still in championship contention. This Falcon Tires field suspension S14.5. Yes, sir. High on that bank. Let's see how he drops in. A quick little transition there on that front clip. Hits it and quits it. Going all that second outer zone, actually knocking out that front clip. And yeah, 2 points as he knocked over that front clip.
Well, as we talk about more about the championship, Odie's really got to try to qualify as high as possible. Obviously, number 1 would be the best, but if he stays in that 4 to 8 range, he gives himself a real shot depending on if James Dean goes out in the top 16. If James Dean does go out in the top 16 and Odie wins the event and they qualify the same, Odie can win the championship. And that same situation goes for Peter Vinsek. And as Odie starts off his first run, you can see he has really improved this year in his qualifying game, and that has given him a big edge, and why I think we saw him get some really good seeds in those first 2 rounds with those 2 back-to-back wins. That really helped out a lot. He has looked tremendous this year, and he would love to get that championship, and I know a lot of other people would love to see him get it after all the hard work that he's put in. So let's see where the judges place his run number 1.
Yeah, just Odie over the years has, just always been the bridesmaid, never the bride as far as the championship goes. And an 88, so an 88 for Odie Bakshis. So there's some coveted spots here, Ryan. Without, if every driver got a score, the top 3 drivers in qualifying tomorrow would go quickly into the top 16. So those are coveted spots. And right now we have 4 drivers that also have incomplete. So that would mean the top 7 qualifiers wouldn't even do competition until top 16 tomorrow. Here we go. Piotr Visek initiates. He had a great score last year. We saw in the drivers meeting, they showed him and used it as an example, a 98. So he's very familiar with this track. He's won here at this venue, so he knows that he can do it. His first year, 2 years ago. Peter Visek crossing that finish line, Ryan.
And yeah, the standout moment for him, as you mentioned, was the win here a couple of years ago. He also had a win at Seattle, Evergreen Speedway early in the year after a one-more-time battle with his teammate James Dean. So he has continued to impress a lot of people and just how well he's able to manipulate that vehicle. And here in his qualifying run, you see why. He's always kind of been in that top 5 in qualifying, taking a couple number 1 slots this year as well. The perfect event at Evergreen Speedway for driving just like that. Cold, precise, and very, very exciting. So Peter Visek, his run number 1. Let's see what the judges think about that.
All right, our next driver will be Frederick Osbo, second in points, as we talked about, those 19 points. Where is Piotr going to land? Got a 98 last year in qualifying. Won 2 years ago. As the smoke slowly starts creeping, a 93, so does not take the number 1 spot. Sits in number 2 position right now. Still in 94 is JTP, Justin Pollock. So 2 drivers left for their first run, but we'll go through all the drivers again for their second qualifying run. Frederick Osbo, man, talk about cars that got beat up in Texas. His car and his team getting the car back out there, and now in between rounds, completely refreshed. It needed to be.
Yeah, not only that, remember Osbo did not have the best qualifying in Texas as well. Right. And that's certainly, when you're trying to accumulate those points, it's not helpful, especially, depending on where you end up in the bracket. We know now those number 1, 2, and 3 spots are going to be straight into the top 16. And for championship contenders, that is unbelievably important. So right. Osbo, here has got to be really thinking about that, his strategy for qualifying, what the judges are looking for, and how to lay down the best possible run he can here to guarantee himself the best positioning going into tomorrow's competition.
Osbo pulls up to the line, a little bit of a delay there. We had some debris up on the bank on initiation. So now we got a clear track. Looks like one of the banners came off of the wall, and that could definitely be an issue. So we're getting that tidied up. Osbo on the start line. There we go. We're getting that banner off. This guy's dragging the wall, so kicking that thing down. And we'll get that back up. BC Racing, no problem. We'll get that back up, BC Racing, no problem. And moving on down. Here we go, Frederick Osbo, currently second in points, gunning for the championship. That Rockstar energy drink. Next in tires, Toyota Racing, Toyota Corolla. Oh man, let's see how he handles this transition. Big angle from Osbo, the Norwegian here. You can see and hear a little bit of a lift, but now right back on that second outer zone, that hatchback. Riding the line, crossing the finish line. Ryan, saw you your body language. What was that saying there?
That was like a subtle claim, like what more do you want type claim.
Right, okay.
Because that was a really good run from Osbo.
Yeah.
I mean, he got a really great initiation. He got right to the outside zone on the big bank, and he stuck that line pretty consistently, and the line was high. Right here on that inside clip, could have been a little bit closer, but he's able to get into this outside zone early, and notice the line does not really move. Look how far behind he is on that yellow line. That indicates the back bumper is right up against the wall, perfect on that inside clip, fills that outside zone. So I think from the judge's perspective, maybe a point or two off on that second inside, or that first inside clip rather, but that is going to be a very competitive run and good positioning for him as he awaits the final two the last competitor, James Dean.
James Dean, our final qualifying run, but that is only run one. Every driver will have a second qualifying run. All right, a 92 sits just outside one of those top 3 spots. One more driver, James Dean.
You see that? So he got a 5-point deduction on commitment. So somewhere on the course there, one of the judges deducted 5 points, and that was probably for the lift before inside clip 1, I would imagine.
Okay, here we go. James Dean, our current points leader, 19 points over Frederick Osbo. We saw a perfect run from him previously. He's had the 2 back-to-back championships. Can he make it 3 here tomorrow night? A 94 is the score to beat as far as the Black Magic top qualifier. Does this beat it? James the Machine Dean wraps it around that front clip and all the way to that outside zone. Ryan.
Well, he didn't hit any cones. Now let's see if he had that lift before inside clip 1 or a big lift going into the second outside zone. He gets a good start here. Pretty high line. He's not all the way up on the wall. Now he is. He touches it, leaving the bank, now coming down into that inside clip. Perfect on that inside clip. Looks like a pretty good job of that decel zone. Maybe got into the zone a tiny bit late there. You can see the back brake moving a little bit as he's trying to balance himself out. Looked pretty solid here. So really good job by James Dean overall. Will that be enough for your #1 qualification as he tries to lay the gauntlet down here? Taking a look at the inside bank, you can see where he entered that outside zone, maybe got into it a little bit late there. But overall, this is a pretty solid run here, very competitive, should be right up near the top 3 for sure.
And there we go, a 92. So Justin Pollock leads the pack still with a 94. James Dean in that number 5 position. So there you have it. Justin Pollock leads the pack with that Black Magic top qualifier as it stands. But we have all the drivers on run 2. They're going to go through 29 drivers. And guess what? We still have 4 incompletes. That would mean the top 7 qualifying drivers would have bye runs into the top 16. So come on, fellas, bring it. We'll be back here with more qualifying at round 8 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. Welcome back to AutoZone Title Fight presented by Rain X. Round 8 of 8 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. This means we are crowning a champion tomorrow night here under the lights. We are now staged for the second qualifying run for all of our drivers. First up will be Sebastian Gautier. Looks like the banner's being put back up. So you can see Ryan already back down to 68 degrees, 2-mile-per-hour wind. So that's why the smoke is just really lingering here. And Gautier warming up his tires. He had a 74 on his first run. How's he going to do on his second? So second run for all of our drivers. All right, Gautier here, warming up his tires. Hopefully going to see Sebastian back out here next year in the 2020 season. The SSG Motorsports, see the big ACT Advanced Clutch Technology sticker on his door. All right. See inside the cockpit of Gautier, the French-Canadian driver on Nexen tires. All right, looks like we are clear to send. All right, here we go. Clear to send. Gautier. Seb Gautier. 74 on his first run. Can he better it? There is our Permits X Pro qualifying leaderboard. Sebastian initiates fairly similar to what, it looked like, he's going to work his way back up top. That's how he did on his first run. Now past that front clip into the second outer zone. Looking a little more motivated here. Dragging the bumper along that second outer zone. That's going to be a 2-point deduction, unfortunately, for Gautier as he takes out that front clip, Ryan.
Well, I really do like that snap initiation that he had. Unfortunately, he was mid-high on the bank, and he did hit that final inside clip, Jared, so he will definitely be getting some deductions there. But overall, I think he'll probably improve on that 74. He did have a really nice line on that inside lower bank that I thought was really impressive. Just a few points left on the table, as you mentioned, Jared, for the big bank. Now remember, the judges have broken that up into 2 sections, even though it's one zone, so the points allocated on even sides of the big bank for line and angle. So Gautier awaits his second score, and he is guaranteed already in the top 32. Now it is just about where that position is going to land.
And remember, we have 4 drivers that have incomplete runs, one of which is up next. Joao Berrion, he straightened out there on that second outer zone. Also the other drivers, Dirk Stratton, Jeff Jones, we'll see if he can get his car put together. Oh, look at that, Sebastian with an 83, so jumps up considerably all the way up to 17th position. But 28 drivers remaining on their second qualifying run. And Joao Berrion coming all the way from Brazil. Can he put it together when it counts to see head-to-head competition in this Monster Energy Achilles tire Corvette C7 Z06? He initiates, drops down fairly low there. By comparison, you saw a lot of the drivers potentially dragging bumper on that big bank. Now in the second outer zone, let's see if he can get past the point of no return. He had a mistake there on his first run. Looks like he keeps it together, Ryan. Definitely could have been higher on initiation, but not anything, no major mistakes in order to give him an incomplete.
Well, and I think really he's just trying to make sure that he does not get an incomplete, because would guarantee himself the position. He is really low down on the bank, but we're looking for something here equal to a 0 that would give him an incomplete. Let's take a look at the lower bank. Pretty good position here. Midline starting to come off a little bit early on that outside zone, but it looks like he gets through the course without any major interruptions and is able to do what he needed to do.
And here we are. Waiting for Joao's second score. And there it is, a 73. So he will be seeing head-to-head competition. Fortunately for him, again, that's a far way to come to not see head-to-head. We missed him at a few different rounds this year, but happy to see him back in the mix. Kyle the Menace Mohan, the American Ethanol Mazda Trix, Mazda RX-8. And the lid is down. Here we go with Kyle Mohan, his second run. He had a 71 on his first run. Like you said, Ryan, you're talking about Mr. Mohan, Kyle's dad, talking about just feeling the flow. It feels scary, but that's, you know, if you're not scared, you're doing it wrong. Now, big angle there from him. A big lift there, Ryan, going to that second outer zone. Oh, but he backs it in. You can see the drunk attitude getting bucked up and across the finish line. So there you have it. Kyle Mohan crossing. Does he better a 71? What do you think, Ryan?
I think so. Let's take a look at it again and see where he was able to make some improvements. This time around, he kind of dips down into the initiation. Pretty smooth flow there from initiation to the outside zone. Midline kind of maintains it now, starts to move upwards into that area of the wall. The transition was a little bit awkward there, but he's able to pull it off, get on that second inside line. Good throttle control here from the rotary driver through that final inside clip. And I think he will better that 71. Yeah. So good job there by Kyle Mohan. I know, as you mentioned, it was talking to his dad, they really want to try to get into those low 20s if they can, or even, obviously, even into the teens in order to avoid some of the bigger contenders in the round of 32. I think he's done a good job there, and he may very well do that.
Yeah, I would definitely agree, and he did, 84. So an 84 there for Mohan on his second run. He does better, so these drivers rising to the occasion and rising on the bank. There's Austin Meeks and that ferocious Nexen Tire Cadillac ATSV from South Carolina. Him and his family running Cinema Animals being utilized in films and TV. And there we go. Looks like he is focused and dialed. Initiates about midline, then works his way up there. Austin 316 the top rope. Now transitioning into that second outer zone. Midline, Ryan looks like he grips up, shoots him in on the inside. Now approaching that front clip. Sets himself up there. And a wide swing as he crosses the finish line there for Meeks. Now Meeks had a 68, Ryan, on his first run.
Well, we talked about the possibility of Meeks really throwing caution to the wind here on run number 2. It looks like he more or less did that. Got a pretty aggressive initiation. Now he did stay midline on the bank. You like to see him move his way up, which he starts to do here, right up against the wall. Taps it there, now coming down on into the inside clip. Much better this time around. Gets into that outside zone, but he's way on the inside here. You like to see him go deeper into that zone and stick right to the wall, ideally. So we'll leave a few points on the table there, but certainly a much more aggressive run the second time around from Austin Meeks.
Yeah, there it is, and proof is in the pudding. Austin Meeks with an 80 on his second run. That's an 8-0 for Austin Meeks. He says, "That's what's up, dude." Just getting word that after qualifying, Dylan Hughes and Ryan Turk will be hitting the track in their vehicles. Dylan Hughes going to be piloting the 2JZ NASCAR, and Ryan Turk's going to be piloting that 4586. Here we go. Kevin Lawrence in Juku Racing S14.3. RV powered all the way from Florida. Wow, big angle there from Lawrence, but looked like a big lift as well. You can see the smoke signal. So he maxed out that angle. And now finishing out this second outer zone, past the front clip. Ryan, let's break it down here again. I was busy talking, couldn't hear exactly the exhaust note on that lift.
Well, I think the judges are going to punish him for that big angle on inside clip 1, not because it was big angle, but because it was big angle that was not executed well. Watch this right here. He's going to come into this inside clip. Huge angle here, but watch the momentum fall off. And now he has to get back on throttle. It causes him to get into that zone a little bit outside the area that you want to be. And you have to think about a chase driver in that position. How would the chase driver have adapted to that, with that big angle and that reduction in momentum going into that second outside zone? Now remember, this is a decel zone, but that doesn't mean you can really slow down. It's really just as an adjustment, knowing that there is a natural decel there. So I don't know that it's going to be an incomplete. I think it will be scored, but he may not get the points in that area that he was looking for.
All right, so Kevin Lawrence awaiting his score, a 70 on his first run. As you're elaborating there, Ryan, you can see the RTR cars down there, the pits right there on the, basically it's the opposing bank of the first initiation. So right there in the hot pits. And there it is, 78. A 78 there for K-Law. Kevin Lawrence from Orlando, Florida, and Juku Racing, BC Racing. Keeley started S14.3. Visors down for Taylor Hull. Ryan, you're talking about that video series documenting him being a privateer in that comp cams. Cadillac ATS-V on Achilles tires. Let's see what the Georgian drivers got. Taylor Hull had a 79 on his first run, very respectable run, and he's going to go for it. Let's see how he gets it done here. On the second run, you can see him initiate towards that second outer zone. About a half a car length off, but came in maybe a little too early. Let's back it up and look at it again, but he's still sitting on a 79. He will be seen head-to-head.
Well, I really like what we see here from Taylor Hull overall. I think he left a little bit to be desired on this second run relative to the first, but I think the scores are starting to tick up a little bit here, and he will be receiving a pretty decent score. This time around, he gets into this second outside zone, but he kind of pulls off a bit early here. Notice he's midline pretty much the majority of the way through. Now as he gets to this inside clip, he's really going to nail that last part of the course. And for Taylor Hull, he is going to have two pretty good runs back-to-back. We'll get a few point deductions there for a couple of the little mistakes. But he did have that 79 on that first run, Jared, so very respectable there. Let's see what the judges think about run number 2.
All right, so Taylor back in the pits. Taylor Hull does better, Ryan, like you said, just a slight tick up, but regardless, an 82 puts him into currently 19th position.
And notice the 15 on style. That is probably from a 5-point deduction for a lift before that inside clip.
Right. Up next, Federico Shetty. He does have a score, Ryan, a 70 from Fiorella, the Ferrari 599 on Nexen tires. Wow, firing off. Again, supercharged last in previous years, now throwing some nitrous in the mix here in the V12 599. Big angle pass. You can see, was that an earlier transition than what the judge is looking for in that second outer zone. Consistent exhaust note. Ryan is not going to better a 70 for Federico.
I think it will. It seems like the scores are starting to tick up a little bit. Very modest initiation here, nothing super impressive, kind of rolled into it. Midline, now starting to move his way up. We see that to be a pretty general tendency of a lot of these drivers here. Now coming down onto the inside clip, gets that lift into the decel zone. And you see a little bit of the braking there. Now getting into the outside zone, trying to maximize the points in that section of the course, coming through the final inside clip and right out to the final outside zone with great angle there. Here he is on the inner bank, not fully committing to the bank, not right up against the wall, kind of midline there. But he's able to keep a solid line through this inside clip, which puts him in the right position for that final section of the course. And he will be done for the night. Let's see where this slots in Federico Shetty for run number 2.
All right, scores are in here for Federico, a.k.a. Fetty, 77. Dressed to impress, puts him into 24th with a score of 77. Next up, Dan Burkett. He has 79. Rad Industries Nexen Tire Toyota Supra. And looks like smoke's clearing out a little bit quicker than the latter portion of run 1 for all the drivers. Dan Burkett. Follow him at RadDanDrift. Always making a bunch of fun YouTube content and videos. Here we go. Dan Burkett. And here we have it. Burkett through the start chicane. 79 on his first run. Throws it in, gets high, flirts with that wall. Oh, look at that. Backing it once, twice. Oh, goes under the wall. Looks like he saves it. Salvages it, and we've seen that from him. Looks like he's going to shut it down. Ryan, that could have been a lot worse than what we just saw transpire. So a 79 on his first run. That's going to be the better score, obviously, of the two, and his car is going to live to see another day because we saw a really bad accident earlier in the year from him.
Well, you can more or less guarantee we're going to see some guys go into the wall here this weekend. This could have been, as you said, much worse than it was. This is actually pretty good defensive driving here from Burkett, noticing that he's getting in the wall. He's starting to get sucked in. Looks like he was going to try to play with it and finish off the run. It will be an incomplete, and it probably was incompleted when he got into the wall up on the big bank. Let's see where it happens. There's one tap right there. There's going to be another one there, and then that is the one that sucks in the front end. And then he basically brings the front wheel straight at that point, reinitiates, and so that would have been an incomplete either way. But, you got to give Rad Dan a lot of praise. He is not afraid to go out there and throw down. Fortunately for him, he does have that score in run number 1, Jared, so no problem for him making it into the top 32.
All right. As looks like the track staff inspecting. We are inspecting the track to see if there's any debris. But right now, download, if you haven't already, Torque Drift. Download in the App Store and Google Play. There's a new update now, special in-game events running all weekend. Go into your App Store and download Torque Drift. Yeah, getting fully torqued out. Yeah. Win a set of BC Racing custom coilovers. Head over to formuladcom/BC Racing and vote for your favorite BC Racing Drift initiation and be entered to win a free set of BC Racing BR Series coilovers. Again, formuladcom/BC Racing. Ryan, how you been, man? You've been busy between Texas and here at Irwindale?
Yeah, mostly staying out of the heat, staying out of the cold.
Yeah.
Doing the best I can.
How's your brother
doing? He's doing pretty good. He's hanging out with Bobby.
Yeah? Bobby's cool too?
Yeah.
All right, that's good. That's good. But other than that, you've been all right?
I've been all right, yeah.
Heading over to Japan.
Yep.
Right? You were over in Japan?
Yeah, we just finished up the 5th season over there. It was really awesome, actually. It was one of the best events we've had in Japan all season long. Okayama, if you'll remember.
Yeah, Okayama. Did you see the Wolves? Did you say what's up to the Wolves?
I said what's up with the Wolves, yeah. One of them unfortunately passed away.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here we go. Back to the action. Speaking of the Wolf, Dirk Stratton, the dagger, initiates. Now, he has an incomplete on his first run. This is do or Dirk. Here we go. Let's see how he handles his transition. Big angle from him into that second outer zone. Ryan, you got to think nerves are kind of racking his brain right now. He wants to compete here at this iconic track. Into that second outer zone. You can see him massaging it all the way out. And there we go for that Lingenfelter Stratton Chevrolet Corvette.
Well,
Achilles tires.
If you are an aspiring drifter, that is more or less how you do it when confronted with a big chunk of adversity, knowing that if he takes it really conservative, he's going to end up at the lower end of qualifying, have to face a top competitor in the top 32 potentially. He actually goes down and lays down a really solid, competitive top run here. And he went out there and pretty much checked a lot of the boxes there. It won't be your number 1 qualifier, but I think this is going to be a really competitive run overall. Could have been a little bit deeper into this second outside zone, but this is a great job, a great bit of driving here by Dirk Stratton, able to not succumb to the pressure of having an incomplete on that first run, and a real sign of a professional.
All right, so as we wait for Dirk Stratton's score, let's see where he ends up. But what's good is he will be seeing head-to-head competition. And there is Jeff Jones, so that's great. Jeff Jones got his car back together. We saw him spin. Unfortunately, you know, goes into the wall, and there's an 83, so a great score there for Dirk Stratton. So from 0 to 19th. So great execution there from Dirk Stratton. Our next two drivers, Jeff Jones and Jonathan Castro, both with incompletes, and it's great to see Jones back out here. Can he get it together? He lives here in the Los Angeles area. Jeff Jones throws it into gear. And here we go. Jeff Jones, that Doc, Nexen Tire, NRG Innovations, Edelbrock, Nissan 370Z, he initiates. Ryan, you can see some wavering there. Did he do enough? Did he get it dialed in? He wants this. Snaps past that front clip, and now he is past the point where he had that incident on his first run. Keeps it between the lines, Ryan. So a little wild there. Wasn't exactly putting his car where it needed to be, but kept it sideways and kept it right.
Yeah, the tricky part about what Jones had to deal with there is not really getting an opportunity to shake down the vehicle after the damage that was sustained to the car. So really going out there and putting the faith in his team. It looks like they were able to hold it together here. A pretty conservative run overall. You can see he's leaving a lot of points on the table here, but this will be enough to get him into the top 32. Now it's just going to be about the positioning, how he's going to slot into the remainder of the seating openings. So Jeff Jones once again comes out, faces that tough challenge of having an incomplete on run number 1, and is able to get a score in the books. This is the final driver who does not have a score. So Jeff Jones does get a score of 79. A 79 there for Jones. Again, another 79. That's a very popular score tonight. But Jones puts himself in the 22nd position. Jonathan Castro, our final driver, without a score. So Castro needs to get it done. And when Castro receives a score, that means, again, our top 3 qualifying drivers right there on that Permatex Pro qualifying leaderboard, how it ends, will have a bye run from today, and then they won't see competition until tomorrow in top 16, which, you know, you got to think those championship contenders, they want that spot. That would make quick and easy work of a championship grasp. They want it.
They want it. Can you feel it? I can feel it through my bones. There we go. Jonathan Castro. Jerdot, Metal Dom, Toyota 86. Ooh, that was definitely puckering there for Castro. Now past the inside clip. Not a lot of deep angle there, Ryan. He's kind of making me nervous here. Ooh, is he gonna hold it together? He works his way out to the outside zone and past the front clip. This is not the Jonathan Castro we've seen in previous rounds of competition. You just wonder what's going on. Wow, loose almost. All right. Little extra points there?
No, I think I mean, you don't like this, but I think what he did there was just fine.
Okay. Yeah. Fine. It's fine. Yeah, it was fine.
Because this time around, no obvious vehicle malfunctions.
Right.
Gets on the throttle a little bit late after initiation. I think that's where you had your pucker moment, but the rest of the run is actually pretty decent here. Midline on the bank, coming down. There's a little bit of a lift there and a little bit of a e-brake pull before that inside clip, so we'll probably get a deduction for that. Pretty deep into this second outside zone on the latter part of it, and then through this final inside clip, he's right on that first hash mark, fills the outside zone, so I think it's going to be a respectable run for him. It's going to be just fine.
You said I wouldn't like it because, you know, I don't like the term fine. Just to give clarification for anybody listening, like, why doesn't Jared not like that? Because the fine just doesn't give it definitive, it's good or it's bad. It's like, it's enough.
It's not explanatory.
Yeah, which drives me nuts.
When it's fine, it's fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine. There we go, an 89.
Boom,
so more than fine. I would say that's extra fine. Very refined. Hey, did a dad jokes. All right, so an 89. So now officially we do have all 29 drivers who entered into qualifying do have a score. So again, the top 3 qualifiers will have a bye run from today, and they won't see competition until tomorrow, top 16. So those are coveted spots. The golden tickets making their way. Ryan Literal. Whoa, buddy, that power stop. Coro Works Nissan 350Z. Oh, he's looking a lot more comfortable on this second run. He is 77 on his first run. He seems a man possessed right now in that second outer zone. This looks like the Literal we know and love. It's getting lit. Whoa, look at that throwing sparks. Oh, shreds that front bumper, but man, great job there by Ryan Literal.
Yeah, that was definitely a much
fun.
more high-energy run, and you did see him take out that final inside clip, so that'll be an automatic 2-point deduction. Let's see how he manages with the bank here. Little tap there and 2 positions on the bank, but still maintain some good angle here coming down. Pretty good throttle control through that inside clip into the decel zone on throttle, pretty much at the right place. Nice and deep into that section, throwing some sparks there, and then just a little bit tight on that final inside clip. You can see the bumper hanging down, and it sounds like we've got a little bit of fire coming off of his vehicle now. We may be able to catch that with one of the cameras, but we are hearing that Ryan Literal's car did start to flame up after he came back to the hot grid. There it is there. You can see, yeah, definitely what's happening to the car there visually was very representative of what he did out on course. And we'll see how the judges reward him, but he'll certainly want to take a look at the vehicle and see what's going on there.
All right, yeah, you can see Kerry and the Coro Works team. All right, looks like fire and safety making their way over there. The hood is popped. All right, 85 and 85 there for Ryan Literal. So he does better his first score. Attaboy, Ryan Literal. He literally was lit. Caught on fire. All right, so win a free set of JE Pistons. Go to jepistons.com/Formula Drift. Cast your vote for who you think has your favorite engine from each round of Formula Drift competition. Submit your name and email to enter, and you can win a set of free JE Pistons. Again, go to jepistons.com/Formula Drift. This set will be given away here after this round, so after tomorrow. Also, let's check out the Privateer profile with Taylor Hull.
So the plan of attack for Irwindale is to start by getting there early and swap motors. Unfortunately, we're pushing so hard against Ken Gucci in the battle at Texas that we had a little bit of a failure, we think, and rather than chance it, we're just going to go ahead and put our backup engine in. After that, it is just go no holes barred, drive it like you stole it, and drive it like you got 4 or 5 months to fix it, because that is the case. So you're going to see the Cadillac be run harder than it's ever been run. We're going to be riding walls. Hopefully we don't ride into the wall too hard. Plan is to qualify in the top 16 and to finish in the top 16. I couldn't be more excited. Irwindale is one of my favorite tracks, and we're ready to go. So the plans for next year is to keep the same car. It's something that we've progressed a lot now. I'm comfortable with the chassis. We're comfortable with the power plant. We've had very, very few mechanical failures this year as opposed to last year where we had, countless issues. This year has been pretty seamless. So basically just do a complete refresh on the car, try and get as much practice in over the off season now that the car is pretty dialed, and come back stronger than ever. The biggest thing I've learned from 2018 to 2019 is we've confirmed our suspicions from 18 into 19, which was if we could get some reliability in the car and get practice, we would get better, and that's been the case. It hasn't been the fastest results that we wanted, but we've definitely grown leaps and bounds as a team. The car, me as a driver, everything has just gotten so much better from 2018 to 2019. And I expect that it'll continue to do the same moving into 2020. We're really excited. So the biggest struggle is just the sheer competition at the pro level. I mean, no amount of practice by yourself or running grassroots events or even Pro-Am and Pro-2 can prepare you for the level of competition that you're up against at every round in pro. It's unbelievable the caliber of drivers and the caliber of cars that come out to each and every one of these events.
and it's a struggle trying to compete at the highest level, because this is the highest level of drifting in the world. And our biggest accomplishments, I think, has been chipping away and closing the gap to that competition. We started off pretty far off, and now I think we're competitive. You know, I think we've had some really good battles against Justin and Ken here in the last couple of rounds, and I think that we're one to watch moving forward. I just want to thank all the fans for sticking with us, for standing behind me and the car and the team. Obviously, all of our partners, we couldn't do it without you, and I can't wait for round 8 and moving into next year. Well, when I first started drifting, pro was never the goal. That always seemed just so out of reach for me. So, you know, when we just got into it, just playing around, grassroots events, having a good time, and then, you know, I'm a competitive person. I came from competitive oval track racing. I couldn't just leave well enough alone and just do it for fun. So got into, you know, Pro-Am and got a Pro 2 license and figured, what the heck, let's do that. So coming from day one where I didn't even really know how to set up a car for drifting or much less drive it, to now competing against the best guys in the world and my idols, it's a magnificent feeling.
All right, a little privateer profile featuring Taylor Hull. Gotta love that Southern Georgia accent there. Thank you, Taylor. Some insight on him and his program as Travis Reeder. Again, he's got those the high vis, the yellow lenses. Hopefully better his vision. And Old Red here, 79 on his first run. The Napoleon Motorsports turn, Key Nitto tire. Nitto tire S13. As opposed to previously this year. He was piloting the Camaro EL1, the first ever electric drift vehicle. He did make history in Atlanta. First ever head-to-head competition featuring an electric vehicle. Parking that, going to develop it here for the 2020 season as Reeder now comes into that front clip. Big angle from him. Old Faithful here. Again, the 2019 FD Rookie of the Year into that second outer zone. Brings it cleanly around that front clip, Ryan.
Yeah, and the painted tire walls, you really get a good look at how he uses this decel zone here. Right here, boom, back on throttle, and right into the bank is Reeder. A little bit of adjustment there with the front end. Jared now coming down off into this inside clip. Good angle here. Moves into this second outside zone. Got into it a little bit on the inside, but now right up against the wall. Great job here, leaving at the right time, coming into this final inside clip, and then pushing just a bit on the inside of that final outside zone. Really making good use of the course here on that second outside zone. And you can see the line he was drawing, just a slight little adjustment there that caused him to go a bit shallow on that final inside clip, but overall, pretty solid run for him. And as you mentioned, he already had that 79 rather. So we'll see how that second run plays, and it does well.
An 86 there for Travis Reeder on his second run. All right, so everybody everybody has had a better score so far. I mean, yeah, literally everybody has just gotten better and stepped it up here on their second run. We'll see if Dean Kearney does the same. I mean, he already has an 84 on his first run. Here we go, the Oracle Lighting Achilles tire, Dodge Viper. His twin turbo setup. Right, you saw him throw sparks there off that front left. What's he gonna do? Ooh, man, backs it in. That big SRT10 Dodge Viper. Transitions past the front clip into the second outer zone. Let's see what Kearney's got. Popping and locking his way in. Backs it in once again. Bashes that tail light. Slapping the base big time. There we go. Firing off across the finish line as Dean Kearney, 84 on his first run. Is that better, Ryan? What do you think?
Well, let's take a look and find out. It's a good start here. You notice how he threw the back bumper right into the outside zone, but he came down for a second, had to move up, so it may leave a few points on the table there. Tiny little, but maybe not even that noticeable lift before that inside clip. We've seen the judges give a 5-point deduction for that, but nice and deep into this second outside zone here. Bouncing off the rev limiter through that final section, gets that those rear tires right on the inside of that final outside zone. And then taking a look here, you can see he's really deep into this second outside zone. Masterful job there by Dean Kearney. Super tight on that inside clip. I think this will be very competitive compared to his run number 1. May get a few points north of where he got. As we've seen these scores start to tick up as drivers are taking a bit more risk in here at Irwindale Speedway on run number 2.
Ryan, you said, what did he leave on the table? Points, or did he leave his keys on the table?
Points.
Okay, all right, just clarifying. 81, so he does not better it, so that was a bad joke. Do you know what I was quoting there? Leaving the keys on the table?
No.
I wanted to. Just kidding.
Okay.
81 on
my
his second
keys in the
run.
refrigerator before.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
So I looked for them. I couldn't find them. They were in the refrigerator.
Here we go. Kazuya Taguchi on his second run. He had a 90 on his first run in this Achilles Radial Up Garage Nissan S15. All right, the ninja style, the 1, 2, 3 of Kazuya Taguchi. I was quoting a System of a Down song. Here we go, Kazuya Taguchi initiating. Man, he already has a 90 and stepping up in grand fashion. Transitions past that front clip. A quick little transition there, not massive. Oh, and he backs it in. Oh, man. I'm telling you, Taguchi in this S15, really just putting it on.
Yeah, this definitely reminds me much more of the Taguchi I've come to know in his presence in Formula Drift Japan. He seems to be a lot more settled in this vehicle. He had that 90 on run number 1, as you mentioned. Let's take a look at run number 2. Right into a consistent smoke line from initiation, taps the wall. It sends him off that outside zone a bit early, but flying through this inside clip. No lift there, used the decel zone, and then right back into that outside zone. Maybe got on the throttle a little bit late there, but you can see the angles on point. Great job in aggressive driving here, and he looks very, very comfortable overall, which is certainly going to be bad news for competitors that he goes up against in the top 32. But let's see how the judges reward him for his second run in qualifying.
And in 92, man, Kazuya Taguchi just adding a couple more points, but still not a number 1 qualifier, but sits in 5th. But it comes down to head-to-head competition in order to get on the box, right? I think Kazuya Taguchi is one to watch this weekend. And that Up Garage Achilles tire S15. Ken Gushi, we saw some greatness from him earlier in that 90, and he started things off really strong, and then on the second portion of the track, had left some points on the table as well, as we're going to continue using that reference. But Ken Gushi here in that Gretty Performance Parts Toyota Racing Achilles tire, Toyota 86. Like you said, Ryan, in the hunt for the championship a few moons ago. Walking through the pits earlier, had an opportunity to just kind of chat with the fellas, the Toyota team, or a few of the members of the Toyota team. It was Ken, Osbo, and Castro, and they all want it. They all want the win here, man. They just, it's one of those coveted things. The championship, it's out of distance for guys like Ken Gushi, but just a win here is an iconic thing.
Oh, no question about it. Yeah, Irwindale is so historic, and the people that have won here have always done it in amazing fashion.
All right, here we go. Ken Gushi, the Gretty Toyota Racing Toyota 86. Look at that, just once again, just locked and loaded. Set it and forget it. Let's see how he handles this transition. Listen to that exhaust note. Quick little lift into that second outer zone. And look at that, just marshmallow clouds of smoke kicking off the back end of that 86. Let's see if he can bring it together. He had a 90 on his first run. Ryan, oh man, we might have a new points leader. I mean, you saw, again, the white wheels and the hips don't lie.
Yeah, this, in my opinion, is definitely going to go higher than 90. Let's take a look at this, because all the key attributes you're looking for. Nice initiation. He's already high on the bank here. Beautifully done there. Not really moving at all. He's staying positioned there. Listen to the throttle. Does not lift until he gets to the decel zone. Great job there. That inside clip, maybe a little bit more angle, but right into this second outside zone. Clean smoke line, deep into that second outside zone, all the way through the inside clip, pushing hard there through the final outside zone. And pretty good for Ken Gushi.
Wow, yeah. You're gunning for my job, dude. You're doing run call. You're pretty torqued right now.
Go up some octaves for you.
Yeah.
A little competition
Yeah.
there. Kind of tough.
Send
it.
The guys over at Forsberg's pit, I guess they were working on their vehicle the other day. Jimmy, one of the kind of, one of the crew guys, and one of the, oh, boom, 95. Look at that. So Ken Gushi jumps up to a 95. So they were working on some body parts, and Jimmy was working on some of the body parts, and he was sanding. He's like, sand it. So, still gonna sand it. Yeah, congratulations, Ken Gushi, our current Black Magic top qualifier right now. All right, so Forrest Wang, I talked about his carbon Kevlar vehicle. That's another vehicle that he builds, and it's over in the pits. You should definitely check it out. I know it's been popping up here, but it's really cool. The carbon Kevlar front bumper and the whole Super Doof kit looks really awesome. So, all right, it's about to get nuts. That Yellow Speed Racing Get Nuts Energy Innovations. Forrest Wang, this S15, the 2JZ under the hood. You can see him shimmy shaking his way. He had massive angle on that first run, really putting it down. You can see the BC sticker or the BC painted helmet on the PB Creations lid. Let's see if Forrest Wang can throw it down here on the second run. He had an 87 on his first run. Good angle from him, rolling in. Could have been a little higher now, but I like this. Let's see how he handles the second outer zone. You see that quick little break in the cloud, but now just pours it back on. Forrest Wang, there's that big angle from him once again. Man, look at those chrome wheels. You can see they were just absolutely counter-steered.
Yeah, this is a pretty good run here from Forrest, but I know he's got a lot more than this, especially on the bank, so I would expect him to continually build on this performance here. You can see he's a little bit off that outside zone, had a little bit of a shimmy about halfway through. Now he starts to kick it into gear. Big angle through that inside clip, gets into the second outside zone, locks in there from the get-go. Stays right up against the wall all the way through. Now coming down off into the inside clip, shooting to the outside, and finishing off strong is Forrest Wang. And like I said, Jared, maybe just a little bit more concentration on that big bank, and that would be right up there, but super tight to that inside clip. Let's see what the judges think about run number 2 from Forrest Wang.
All right, as Ken Gushi, or sorry, not Ken Gushi, the Von Kitten. Look at that, a 91 from Forrest Wang, a 91 for Wang. You see 27, 27, so 3 points in each category. So well done there from Forrest Wang. And there is JTP, Justin Pollock, on the start line, ready to throw down. He has a 94 on his first run. And there is Justin Pollock waiting. Looks like smoke is cleared out enough. Feel confident. Ryan, I'm expecting some big things here from Justin Pollock. Let's just hope he keeps it away from the wall. I know he likes to flirt with it. And look at that massive angle. And just as I said, he backs it in. Puts that teal and blue Roush Performance Falcon Tires Ford Mustang right up on the wall. Snappy transition into that second outer zone. Whoa, sparks are thrown. He stays in it. Look at this, dragging the bumper, shredding the lights. Yo, zero chill JTP, Justin Pollock. You're already in the show, but he wants to go for that Black Magic Top Qualifier award spot, man.
Well, he was driving on that razor's edge and just went on the other side of it for a second there, but look at that execution up on the big bank. Amazing angle coming down off into the inside clip. Stays on throttle, uses the decel zone appropriately, now into the bank, and that's where he makes that first little mistake. He compresses the rear end of the vehicle about 6 to 8 inches, and the construction of these vehicles is able to withstand that, but once he got so deep into it, really the car at that point had to bounce off. So he will receive some deductions for that, but the driving was phenomenal up until that point and very aggressive and exciting from the Falcon driver.
Phenomenal. Used to say that all the time. Phenomenal.
Yep.
But not anymore.
Well, I bring him in and out. You know, you want to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
You know.
Pizzazz is the round 8 word.
Mix it in. You have to. Yeah. You got to mix it up.
Spice it up. Spice Girls.
Indeed.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
Truth be told.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay. Fine, guy. You're pretty fine for a fly guy. All right, so as Matt Field, more teal and blue. So an 88 on his second run, very exciting, but just with the attitude of the vehicle, as you said, Ryan, getting just too disrupted there on that second outer zone. And now Matt Field, he has an 85, and knowing Matt Field, he likes to throw down. You know, I was just messing with him on social media and saying, oh, you think you're ready? He's like, heck yeah, dude. Like he's about that life. You know, he's ready to throw down. Him and his team, he's having a lot of fun, and his social media game is pretty fun to watch. He's always in that drift cave, man.
Yeah, he's got to tell it like it is.
Yeah. Truth be told.
You missed that one though, right?
I did miss that. What'd you say?
Tell it like it is.
Tell it like it is?
That's another one of yours.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, got it. Sorry. Yes. There are things that I do repeat. I apologize. All right, here we go. Matt Field throws it in. Nice job from the Beast from the Bay. The Borla exhaust. See if he can tap those Borla tips there on the back. Past the front clip. Whoa! Oh, you see some wavering there. Oh, that front left locked up. Here kind of sputtering. All right, so
yeah, got a little scary moment there coming into the inside bank, and luckily Matt was able to hold it together. It sounded like the car was having a little bit of an issue there. Let's take a look at the first half of the run. Good start here from Matt Field. Pretty high on the bank, starts to move up a little bit higher. Now coming off the bank, let's take a look at this inside clip. Pretty much stays on throttle through the inside clip. You see a backfire there, then the front end wants to move, and from this point you can hear the car kind of sounding like it was bouncing off the run limiter or not firing in the way that it should have. And it looks like he will take a few points away from his overall total there because of that. And go back and check out if there's anything wrong with the vehicle. Let's see what the judges think about Matt Field's second run as we have Vaughn Gittin Jr. waiting in the wings.
All right, so an 82, he does not better it there, Ryan. So Matt Field currently sitting in 17th and does not better his first score. Top 10 drivers, current standings: Vaughn Gittin Jr., Monster Energy, Nitto Tire, Ford, Mustang, RTR. Here comes Vaughn, the professional fun haver. Going for it into the bank. Not as high as we've seen some of the other drivers, but definitely carrying that speed into that second outer zone. Quick lift into the second outer zone, quickly expediting this run here. Gets tight to the second half of that second outer zone and unwinds across the finish.
So Vaughn Gittin Jr. take the second stab here in qualifying. Nice little flow from initiation into the big bank there. Mid-high line, not all the way up against the wall. Keeps the throttle control through that inside clip, so doing what the style judge would like him to do. Now attacking this inside bank, getting pretty close there towards the latter part of it. Nice job on that final inside clip, and just on the inside of that final outside zone. Nice fluid transition there coming down from that inside clip off of the bank. And maybe could have got into that zone a little bit deeper at the beginning, but then he starts to move his way back to the wall, and right there at the closest point, he exits the wall and hits that final inside clip.
All right, Vaughn Gittin Jr., RTR, a new generation of Ford tuning, not just limited to Mustangs, but trucks as well. RTR ready to rock as the champ pulls out and another one pulls in. Essa Autosports, Achilles Tire, BMW, Michael Essa, an 89 on Vaughn's second run. He does better his first run just by a couple points, but moves up a couple spots. Position 11. Essa has a 90 on his first run. Only way you can tell the future is by looking at the past, and I would have to guess that Michael Essa will definitely step up. The Essa Autosports Achilles Tire BMW. Waiting patiently, you can see the lid is risen, and once the smoke clears out, he will go for it and drop that lid. Remember, there, if you are in the building, there is an autograph session down in the pits, so join us over there at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock there for those people here in the building. Current local time 8:15. Remember, FormulaD.com, download the app, play some games, win prizes. Here we go. Ken Gucci leading the pack. Can Essa better it? And you can see all those 90s in the mix. Essa tapping the left foot brake. Ubiquitous earlier ride in regards to that left foot braking. Now into the second outer zone. You can see coming off the wall a little early, Ryan, but a good angle from him. Looks like about the first hash mark past that final front clip.
Michael Essa looking to improve on a 90. Let's see if he can do it here on that second run. Nice little fluid initiation there. He's on throttle pretty early, but you see that movement with the front wheels. The judges want to see you lock into that angle, that commitment. Slight little lift there. You may get that ding from the style judge. Now into the second outside zone. Massive throttle, but unfortunately, he gets a little bit low on the bank and then works his way up. The judges want to see you fill that zone completely as much as you possibly can. Now he does have that solid score of a 90. Will that hold as his highest score, or will he be able to move up? We'll take a look here as the scores are coming in from all three of our judges.
Man, look at that. It's like a I don't know, haunted little cemetery there. It is, like you say, HE double hockey sticks. We're close to Halloween. Right? Yeah, big fan. All right, here we go on 87 on his second run. Ryan used to act like a vampire. Reminded me of Lost Boys. Fantastic film.
You know, one of the biggest insults I ever heard is somebody told me I look like Nosferatu.
Wow. Really? That's a weird flex.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, the vampire.
Yeah. Like, I want to talk like that dude, right? Yeah. So you're claiming, and you just went to, yeah, Ryan's talking off camera here, but, or off mics, but you're okay with looking like Nosferatu?
I guess, yeah.
And you just went to a haunted house the other day, and you dressed up as a vampire.
I did.
Yeah, very fitting. Very fitting. He was a sexy vampire too. It was a weird costume, but it was rad. I liked it. It was good. You sent me that picture. I saw it. It was good.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks, dude. Appreciate that. All right, so Dai Yoshihara waiting as the smoke clears. See him tighten up the arm restraints. All right, so again, we got a couple champs here in a row from Von Gittin Jr., Michael Essa, Dai Yoshihara. And here we go. Dai with that 86 on his first run, and Ryan talked about him coming by the FD office to say, #1 qualifier, gonna win the event. Big claims, can this ring true? First stop, that #1 qualifying spot. Can he do it? Into the second outer zone. Right now, I mean, he's really producing. That #1 spot held by Ken Gucci, his good friend, another FD veteran. He loops it. So, Ryan, elaborate on the judge's stance. What do we do with this, says Lantain.
Yeah, well, as soon as he crossed the finish line, the judge says, "Oh no!" And that's because we've instituted a new policy that you must maintain control through the finish line. You cannot spin anywhere on the course. So Ryan Lantain, let's bring you in for the first time here in qualifying. Break it down for us.
I got a little excited, Ryan. I apologize, but this is something we talked about in the meeting. You spin at or beyond the finish line with the same angle that you finish the course with. It's an incomplete. And he was doing so well. I only had 2 points deducted for line on this one, and I'm pretty sure the other judges had very minimal deductions as well. This was going to be a really high-scoring run, but unfortunately, due to the regulations that were imposed earlier in the season, which were imposed by the drivers, this was something that we voted on, and they all requested that we were very strict on this, and we're going to have to stick to our guns, and stick to their guns, and give him an incomplete as he spun going over the finish line and did not complete the essential entirety of the course, let's say, under control, full control. So that's an incomplete for Dai Yoshihara.
Ah, what a bummer. And also for future reference, don't get excited, Ryan. Please, just, I appreciate you apologizing, but just don't let it happen again.
I will do my best.
Thank you. All right, Dai Yoshihara with a 0 on his second run. He still has that 86 and currently sits in 16th position as we work our way down or up the ladder here as Chelsea Denofa, BC Racing, Nitto Tire, Ford Performance, Ford Mustang. Here we go, Chelsea Denofa, the most recent winner in that BC Racing vehicle. Chelsea Denofa, I know he's going to throw it out there. Currently has a 93. Look at this, already quickly getting sideways up there on the bank. Let's see how he handles this transition on the front flip transitions nicely there. You can see that white lipstick on the front end of that Ford Mustang now here in that second outer zone. Big angle from him. There we go. Now he tucks it in on that second outer zone, wrapping it around, barely just nicking that front clip, and the crowd erupts here. Does that challenge the 95 of Goosh?
Well, I think let's analyze here, Jared.
Let's break it down.
So yeah, Denofa starts off really strong. Notice the continuity between the initiation and the locking in of the line and the angle. Great job there, but he does come off the bank a little bit earlier. Doesn't fill it completely. Beautiful job with big angle. Snappy transition back around. Gets into the zone a little bit late there and has to work his way up. So I think if the judges are nitpicking, these are the areas they're going to be looking at in terms of this section of the course. Perfect.
Yeah.
No major mistakes there. Look beautiful. And let's take a look at the bank one more time. You can see great angle. He got right up against the wall, but just leaves it slightly early there. And I love this transition here from the inside clip into the decel zone area. Very fast and snappy. So really putting together a lot of really positive attributes. Will it be your #1 qualifier? I think it's going to be right up there and certainly a contender, but there are some areas where the judges could deduct some points.
All right, let's find out. Denofa scores coming in. And again, 95 is a #1 qualifier, and that was Ken Gushi, right? Yeah, Ken Gushi had a 95 and a 90. Denofa has a 93. Does he better it? All right, so a 93, and now on his second score, a 95. So, again, so he is your #1 qualifier because Ken Gushi had that 95, but he was backed up with a 90 on his first run, and Chelsea has a 93 on his first run. So, therefore, he is your #1 qualifier. Great job from our most recent victor.
I know they are still left to go, and high degree of probability that Dean and Osbo are going to be one of those top 3 spots, but it is interesting right now that they currently do not occupy one of those spots, at least according to the current numbers, or they're right in the mix there, but Denofa and Gushi kind of pushing them out there.
Those top 3 spots are highly coveted. Can they produce? And you know, Piotr Visick, as you said, you complimented Odie on his qualifying, and Ryan Turk as well. That's just how stacked the field is. So Denofa now takes over that Black Magic top qualifying award spot. Speaking of Black Magic, this gum-out Toyota, Racing Toyota 86 of Ryan Turk, rocking those Nitto tires on the corners. Oh, wow, look at that, snappy into that second outer zone. The smoke just billowing off the back of that Toyota 86. And now into that final front clip and across the finish line. Ryan Turk had a 93 on his first run. Let's see how he ends up on his second.
Well, he does back it up with another good one. We'll see if he was able to improve in some of the slight areas where he had a few point deductions. This time around, he gets a good initiation, pretty high on the bank, not right up against the wall, but overall very solid there. And notice he did not lift before that inside clip, used the decel zone appropriately, did tap the wall there once and twice. The second time, much more mellow, and it allowed him to carry good momentum through that final inside clip and that outside zone. So this is another strong run following up from Chelsea Denofa's 95. Ryan Turk looking very good here tonight.
Yeah, he got that victory, and it just, we always talk about it, starting the season off with totaling his previous 86, rebuilt this vehicle, a street car, wins an event, you know, got on the podium, and then bettered it with an overall win in New Jersey. That was all about redemption. So he does better his second run, a 94. He betters his first run with the 94 on his second run, better yet. So he has one of those #3 spots right now, but we are now going to top 5. Forsberg, Odie, Piotr, Osbo, and James the Machine Dean, our current points leader. So top 5 in standings, and that'll be our final 5 qualifying runs here. As again, local time 8:25. Here comes Chris the Force Forsberg, NOS energy drink, Nissan 370Z on Nexen tires. He had an 89 on his first run. There you go. You could see in the cockpit, everybody's got their different kind of, what would you call it, just semantics, or what would it be?
You mean like items?
Yeah, no, just their order of operations.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
what would
like
you call it?
Their process?
Their process, that's a good word, yeah. Yeah. All right, here we go. Ritual is the word I was looking for. Here we go. Forsberg, initiates into the bank, works it up high, looks like his tail light reflecting in Irwindale Speedway, and you can see now into that second outer zone. Wow, really early, gaining some applause even from the judges. Wow, filling all that second outer zone. Forsberg going for it. He's had some success here in the 16 years he's been coming here. Ryan, that was one of the most gangster entries on that second outer zone. He was way early.
Yeah, no question. But what's weird here is, watch this. He comes off this first outside zone very early. He comes down almost on that inside line, and then he's flying through this section of the course, gets right up against the wall there. Had he improved on that first outside zone, this would certainly be up there for the #1 qualification, because flawless once he got into that second outside zone and through the inside clip and the final section of the course. Just unfortunately coming off the big bank a little bit early. Now, there is a limited number of points there, so it still could be a pretty high run in terms of the point total. But we will see some deductions, no question about it.
Yeah, he definitely threw a caution to the wind. Better yet, a Nissan 370Z into potentially that wall. So a tight run there for Forsberg. You can see Dylan Hughes, his homeboy, and you can see that gum out NASCAR down there. It's got a 2JZ under the hood. That's going to be right over there to the left. And Forsberg with a 94, so barely outside of one of those top 3 spots. He will have to do battle tomorrow, but still a very good score, a 94 for him. You see 27, 28, 39, near perfect on style.
That's crazy, because I'm certain he would have got those 3 points back online had he not come off, and that would be a 97, 98.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm bad at math. 94 plus 3 is 97. You're right. Again, that's why we have, calculators on our phones and stuff and computers. Here we go. Again, Ryan, you talked about complimenting Odi Bakshis and how he's just upped his qualifying game. Well, here he is. He has an 88, so he definitely has room to grow as far as his second run score. Falcon tires, field suspension, Vortex supercharged V8 S14. Really tight to that wall. You can see the taillight reflecting on the wall. Man, he really went quickly through that course. Very clean, minimal corrections, minimal wavering there from him. Let's take a look at it again.
Trying to get into the 90s here, into the top 10. Can Odi Bakshis do it? Currently sitting in championship contention. Very important run here. Nice job on the bank by Odi. Good angle, stayed high up on the wall, kept the throttle on through that inside clip. Good transition here, a little bit on the inside as he enters that final and second bank. Really deep into that outside zone. Good movement there, tight on that inside clip, and pushes out wide. So this is going to be up there for Odi Bakshis. It'll certainly be an improvement. Where is it going to fall in the judges' minds as he finishes off his last qualifying run of the night and the season here, and trying to give himself the best position that he can for the championship?
All right, Odi, the score's coming in. 88 on his first run and a 93 on his second run. So we talk about those coveted 3 spots, but regardless, I guess it does we do need to put some stress on that, because a championship contender could make his way from 32 to 16, and that could just better the chances of locking it up in the 16. All right, so Peter Visick, and we'll talk about more of the scenarios tomorrow when kind of all the chips fall where they may. So Peter Visick from Poland, the Candyman, the Wardhouse Drift Team Falcon Tires S15. He's won here before. He wants to do it again. Look at this. A 93 on his first run. This 2JZ powered S15. Whoa, wow, look at that. Now he executes that second outside zone, dragging the bumper, putting the taillight literally on the wall. Ryan, that could be challenging. Chelsea Denofa at a 95 and a 93. If Peter gets a 96, he would be #1 qualifier.
Well, we've noticed some of the higher scores. The point of difference has been, of course, doing the big bank really well. You see a little bit of wavering here from Peter, but watch the entrance into the second outside zone. Very early and right up against the wall, and that is what the judges want to see. Now, he's going to be tapping the wall here. He's going to get a few points deducted, but we would like to see these drivers be overly aggressive and make small mistakes, then not be aggressive enough and not really fill or hit the criteria. So this is a pretty solid run for Peter Visick. Where it's going to fall into the overall 32 seating, the judges will tell us right now. as he is looking also for the best possible positioning for the championship.
A 90. So a 90 on his second run. The 93 is the better of the two. Ryan, update. Frederick Osbo, who is to run next, is skipping his second run. So he has to rest on a 92 for his best qualifying run. He'll have to do battle in top 32. Guess who's next? Guess who's last? James Dean is our final qualifying driver.
Wait, do we know why?
We don't know why.
Okay, so all we know is Osbo has let us know that he's
forfeiting his second run.
Okay.
Don't know if it's mechanical, don't know if it's by choice, don't know if it's unfortunate, don't know if he's in the bathroom.
Can you dig into it, do a little research?
I'll be right back.
Okay.
BRB, okay? So so regardless, James Dean is now on the line. The machine, current points leader, back-to-back defending champion, going for a third championship in a row here this weekend. Frederick Osbo sitting in second. Piotr Visick in that championship contention. Odi Bakshis, and pretty much with all the drivers getting scores and qualifying, Chris Forsberg outside of that championship contention. Here we go. Denofa leads the pack with that 95. Gucci sitting in second. James the Machine Dean, he had a perfect run in Texas. Can he do it here? Can he just get a 96, or can he get one of those top 3 spots? Not as tidy as we've seen from James Dean in the past. You can see him coming off the wall now, backs it in, and around, just barely nicking that front clip and flirting with the skirting over there on that final front or final outside clip.
Well, here we go, James Dean, and as we wonder why Frederick Osbo did not complete his second run, that is certainly going to have some implications, because there is a situation where if Dean and Osbo met in the finals and Dean out-qualifies him by a certain number of points, he would still win the championship even if Osbo beat him. So this is a really important qualifying run here for James Dean. If he moves up the qualifying position and does indeed make it to the finals, he will put himself in a massive position even if he were to lose. So a lot on the line here in this final qualification position as James Dean looks solid overall, but will it be enough to beat Chelsea Denofa?
All right, here we go. So tune in tomorrow, October 19th, 1:30 p.m., Pro Top 32 halftime show featuring those fellas of the Maximum Driftcast 545 and Top 16, 6:15 under the lights. And we won't stop till we find out who wins here at Irwindale and who is your 2019 Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Champion. All right, so James Dean waits for his score. It is coming in. He had a 92 on his first score. Where does he land on his second? All right. Fans are making their way over to the autograph session. That's beginning at 9 o'clock. And a 93, so he does not get one of those top 3 spots.
That's good for Osbo.
That's good for Osbo. That's a great point. So, Ryan, Irwindale, thoughts? Qualifying's over. Tomorrow's game day, head-to-head.
Now we know with certainty how drivers need to finish tomorrow in order to gain a certain position, win a championship, finish in the top 3. It all comes down to the battles that we're going to see tomorrow under the lights here at Irwindale. A great way to cap off Season 16, Event 8.
Right on. All right, well, we'll either see you down at the autograph, or we'll see you online, or we'll see you another time. On behalf of Ryan Sage, I'm Jared Gienda. And the qualifying is a wrap. Tomorrow is game day. Hashtag FDIRW at Formula D. Send it.